Chapter 1075. Two consecutive roars shook the universe's starry skies, shattering the stars in the sky and causing the entire universe's heavenly punishment to tremble. At this moment, Yi Lingtian's might was unparalleled. He was like a terrifying giant who had killed Xiao Boyan and swallowed the source of life that leaked out of his body. The source of life of a supreme being had penetrated his body, causing Yi Lingtian's aura to soar endlessly. Even the universe could not suppress his elegance. Even the vast universe's heavenly punishment was trembling. This was a heaven-defying might that rose from the ground, piercing through the heavens and impacting the universe. Endless rumbles were heard. The path to becoming a supreme being had been opened. But at this critical moment, Yi Lingtian suppressed the thought of breaking through with great boldness. He carried the universe's heavenly punishment and left behind a shocking statement before disappearing from the eyes of the world. This dilapidated world was filled with the stench of blood. Those who remained were all dumbfounded. It was very likely that they had recovered from the shock. Even the big shots of various races were in a daze. They felt as if they had gone deaf and could not hear the previous word. In the end, someone was terrified. His entire body trembled and his hair stood on end. His words were somewhat strange. Carrying the universe's heavenly punishment. Going to the Han family as a guest. The whole scene was in an uproar. Many people were beginning to doubt their lives. They originally thought that Su Xianren was crazy enough, but they did not expect that Yi Lingtian, who was even crazier than Su Xianren, would carry the universe's heavenly punishment to the Han family to transcend the tribulation. Something big is about to happen. The buried region race is going to stand up for Su Yan and settle the score with the Han family. Countless exclamations were heard. The whole world was in an uproar. A supreme being with ferocious combat strength had killed a supreme being and swallowed the source of life that leaked out of his body. He was breaking through in a heaven-defying manner. His combat strength was peerless, and he was about to tear apart a corner of the universe. Now, he was carrying the universe's heavenly punishment to go to the Han family to transcend the tribulation. It's really frightening. Luo Tian was stunned. His legs were trembling. What kind of race was the Han family? It was a force that had existed for millions of years. It was the ancestor of the Mystic Gate. It had an extremely high status in the primal chaos ruins. It was an ancient aristocratic family that was above the top clans. The Han family had once been extremely glorious. They had produced powerful figures and grade 8 great-grandmasters. They had once been treated as guests of honor by various major powers. Traces of the Han family could be found in almost all of the universe's secret realms in the Chaos Ruins. The Han family had been glorious since ancient times. Even now, the Han family was still outstanding. The clan's foundation couldn't be ignored. But now, a terrifying leader of a clan from the burial realm wanted to go to the Han family to receive a heavenly punishment. Let's go. Finally, someone reacted. Many important figures joined hands to cut open the space-time tunnel and rushed towards the Han family. This was a shocking event, possibly related to the decline of a former Overlord power. Once it happened, it would shake the entire universe. Such a tragic event had never happened before in this universe era. The world was in chaos and everyone was in a state of panic. A large number of powerhouses crossed the borders of the Great Domains. However, the Great Domains they were rushing towards were also in chaos. Just a moment ago, a terrifying aura pressed down like an ocean. It was as if the end of the universe had arrived. The vast energy of the universe's great Tao suppressed the entire Great Domain, causing trillions of life forms to panic and feel uneasy. They didn't even know what had happened. That aura had already disappeared. Finally, they found out the truth. One great domain after another was thrown into chaos. The news spread everywhere, causing the entire world to go crazy. There were even some clan leaders who shouted, "The heavens have opened their eyes. The Han family has finally met their match." First, Su Xianren set up a trap and killed 3 half-step powerhouses of the Han family. He even destroyed the clan's mountain protecting array. Now, there is a powerhouse who can traverse billions of miles. I think the Han family's destruction is imminent. Kill the Han family. Take revenge. Beat them while they're down. Back then, the Han family bullied our clan because we didn't have any powerhouses. They took over the universe's secret realms that our clan controlled and caused us to suffer heavy losses. The 76th generation ancestor died without a complete corpse. This is a blood feud that must be avenged. Now everyone, listen to my orders. Kill our clan's universe's secret realms and take them back to comfort our ancestors. Kill. Exterminate the Han family. There were at least a dozen ancient clans that were emitting cold, murderous intent. Their entire clan was emitting murderous intent. They had a feud with the Han family. However, the Han family had been strong since ancient times. These clans didn't even have the chance to take revenge. They had even been bullied by the Han family generation after generation. Now, the Han family was in big trouble. These clans wanted revenge. The Han family had a huge business. Just the Han family alone had over 100 resource secret realms in the outside world. The Han family even secretly controlled 3 secret realms. Be careful of the spread of the news, spreading throughout the chaos ruins. In one night, the universe was in chaos. Gods and demons danced wildly. Ancient powerhouses that had been in hibernation all came out to fight for the Han family's secret realms. There were many cases of people looting a burning house. Back then, the sealed heaven region was exactly like this. However, with the Han family's power, it wasn't enough to attract the attention of the powerhouses. However, when some of the universe mercenary groups heard about this, they couldn't sit still. Very quickly, more than a dozen universe mercenary group leaders gathered in secret. They were going to do something big. Back then, we didn't dare to go to the sealed heaven region. However, the Han family was already done for. According to what I know, a powerhouse and a ruthless person carried the universe's punishment to the Han family. Back then, the Han family's protection array was broken by Grandpa Taboo. That item fell into the hands of Su Xianren. The Han family had already lost the trump card that they were so proud of. Damn, let's do something big. I know the whereabouts of more than a dozen godly ore veins in the Han family. I know that the Han family has 2 large herb mountains. There are also several stalks of sacred herbs. If we can pick them, they can extend our lifespan by several hundred years. These things are enough for us to eat. Let's join forces and take down these resource secret realms. The Han family's ancestral land is facing a great calamity. They won't be able to take care of us. More than a dozen universe mercenary group leaders gathered together to plot. As they talked, their blood boiled. Some of them even roared, "There's no time to lose. Let's attack now. This will be enough for us to enjoy the rest of our lives." The Chaos Land was swept up in a bloody storm. In the sealed heaven region, the entire race was furious. Another powerhouse had fallen. Within a year, the sealed heaven region had lost a total of 6 powerhouses. Even the sealed heaven 10 heroes had died at the hands of Su Xianren. This caused the entire sealed heaven region to be furious. How can we not take revenge for such a great enmity? Su Xianren, we must kill him. We must kill him. They roared like mad demons. They were really anxious. The dignified life Forbidden Zone had suffered a great loss because of a heavenly god junior. Its foundation was less than half of its peak. If this continued, the name of the life Forbidden Zone would be rewritten. The entire sealed heaven region radiated killing intent, surging between heaven and earth. However, this place was too far away from the Han family. The sealed heaven region had also lost much of its foundation. It was extremely difficult to cross over in a short period of time. An old ancestor of the sealed heaven region stood out and urgently called for an army. The Han family wouldn't be destroyed in a short period of time. As long as they rushed over, This battle could still be reversed. Who's crazy enough to withstand the heavenly punishment of a powerhouse and cross over to a large region? What's he doing? One large region after another was shaken. Yi Lingtian's actions were too crazy. It shocked all the races in the universe. This was a cosmic heavenly punishment passing through. During the process, this cosmic heavenly punishment became stronger and stronger, forming a world-destroying storm. There won't be an accident, right? Su Yan and the others were somewhat worried. They discovered that the cosmic heavenly punishment had swallowed up the cosmic energy of a large region as it crossed over, causing the cosmic heavenly punishment to become even stronger. Xiaoho's expression was solemn. The danger had definitely increased. However, Yi Lingtian had swallowed Qiu Boyern's divine power, causing his foundation to soar. He could still withstand it for a short period of time. Of course, this would make the cosmic heavenly punishment even stronger. However, the stronger the cosmic heavenly punishment was, the heavier the blow to the Han family would be. This clan that had been passed down for millions of years couldn't be destroyed so easily. Even if another powerhouse came, there was no guarantee that they would be able to overturn the entire Han family. But now that a powerhouse's cosmic heavenly punishment had descended, the chances of destroying the Han family were high. Xiaoho led Su Yan and the others across the border and tailed the cosmic heavenly punishment. Now they were getting closer and closer to the Han family. As for this cosmic heavenly punishment, it had already reached the peak of its magnificence. Countless bolts of lightning were constantly falling down, forming a world-destroying scene. The energy fluctuations rippling out from the light had already affected the Han family. The Han family's territory occupied dozens of large regions. They were the hegemons of a region. In the ancestral land of the Han family, a large number of old powerhouses had already awakened. They were puzzled as they sensed an extremely terrifying cosmic heavenly punishment energy, causing them to be somewhat flustered. A treasured mirror was brought out from the ancestral land, illuminating thousands of miles of territory. When the treasured mirror displayed the scene of billions of bolts of lightning descending, the expressions of the Han family's powerhouses changed. This is a powerhouse's cosmic heavenly punishment. How can it be so strong? It's much stronger than the heavenly punishment of a powerhouse I witnessed 1,000 years ago. Which clan's powerhouse is undergoing this tribulation? How lucky! I wonder which clan has given birth to such a powerful expert. There were also some Han family powerhouses whose eyes were filled with jealousy. Their Han family hadn't given birth to a powerhouse for an entire universe era. If this situation continued, the Han family would truly decline. Who cares? It has nothing to do with us. A Han family powerhouse said expectantly. The old ancestor went to the reincarnation universe and took away the family's 4 great heaven-suppressing stones. I wonder if he killed Su Yan, that evil spawn. Su Yan definitely won't be able to survive. The reincarnation universe has been sealed. Especially with the young overlords working together to deal with him, he won't be able to walk out alive. I hope the old ancestor can obtain the reincarnation fruit. If the old ancestor can live another generation, our clan will have a powerhouse overseeing it. I hope the old ancestor's trip will be smooth. After all, the old ancestor of their clan originated from the previous universe era. Although he had lived until now, it was extremely difficult for him to come out. Ever since the matter of the reincarnation fruit was leaked, the powerhouse overseeing the Han family went out for the first time in this universe era to seek fortune. If he succeeded, the Han family's glory would continue for eternity. Look over there. All of a sudden, a group of elders gathered in the Han family ancestral land had a change in expression. Someone exclaimed, "This universe heaven's punishment is moving. It's already near our Han family's territory. No, it's already within our Han family's territory." Bastard! The expressions of the powerhouses changed greatly. Someone directly roared, "Who is so daring? Even if our Han family is declining, it's not something a powerhouse can humiliate. Now, he actually came to our doorstep to undergo his tribulation. Isn't this too much? A powerhouse was undergoing his tribulation in the Han family's territory? This was a naked provocation, causing the group of old powerhouses of the Han family to curse furiously. Once a powerhouse completed his tribulation, he would have to devour the essence of the universe's mountains and rivers to gather the supreme power of the powerhouse. Once he did so, it would definitely cause the Han family's territory to suffer a great loss of heaven and earth essence. This was a loss that couldn't be recovered even after hundreds of years. Elders, did our family give birth to a powerhouse? At this moment, some of the high-ranking juniors of the Han family walked over excitedly. Could it be that the Han family was about to give birth to a second powerhouse? Their words made the group of elders so angry that their noses were about to become crooked. After learning the truth, the group of juniors of the Han family became furious and roared uncontrollably. This is too much. We should use our family's treasure to interrupt his tribulation. That's right. Does he think our Han family is easy to bully? We have powerhouses in our family. Tribulation? Let him undergo his tribulation first. We must kill him. The group of juniors of the Han family were furious. Had the times changed? Everyone dared to humiliate the Han family. Undergoing tribulation in their own territory was a great humiliation. I think he's a rogue cultivator. A powerhouse expressed his opinion. If he's a powerhouse from a big family, he should have a blessed land. There should be a blessed enclave to provide him with the divine power of heaven and earth after his breakthrough. However, since he is undergoing the tribulation here, it means that he lacks such a foundation. Chapter 1076. A group of Han family elders were having a heated discussion as they discussed countermeasures. Su Yen and the others had also arrived at the territory ruled by the Han family. Each of the large regions was filled with outstanding heroes and had abundant heaven and earth essence chi. It was extremely suitable for cultivators to cultivate and also suitable for sects to establish their own sections. What a Han family! Their methods are truly heaven-defying. Su Yen opened his heaven and earth eye and looked at the territory ruled by the Han family. He could see the chi of life leaking out from the large regions in all directions. It was being guided by a supreme force of heaven and earth, and finally flowed towards the Han family's ancestral land. The Han family's ancestral land occupied an entire region of life. The surrounding large regions had their chi of life stolen by the Han family. This led to the Han family's boundless chi of life. It could be said that it had seized the fortune of heaven and earth, and gradually became a holy land for cultivation. The Han family's large region was filled with auspicious clouds and purple chi. The chi of life was as vigorous as a dragon. It was a holy land for cultivation that all cultivators yearned for. The universe's heavenly punishment is passing through. The large regions were in an uproar. Many sect masters were trembling in fear as they saw the universe's heavenly punishment pressing down and destroying the large regions. They were truly in despair. This was a natural disaster that could not be stopped. However, in their moment of despair, they discovered that the universe's heavenly punishment had disappeared and was crossing into the distance. Its destination seemed to be the Han family's holy land. Now, a group of Han family elders were having a heated discussion. They could not come to a conclusion, but their voices were getting weaker and weaker. They had vaguely discovered a frightening event. The universe's heavenly punishment was getting closer and closer to the Han family's ancestral land. Within the vast expanse of lightning, the sound of thunder had already reached the Han family's ancestral land. It was so loud that many clansmen's eyes darkened and they were trembling in fear. Boom! The deafening sound of thunder filled the sky. Amidst it, there was a giant with a terrifying aura. He endured the universe's heavenly punishment and charged directly towards the Han family's ancestral land. This scene shocked the experts of the surrounding large regions. They were under the jurisdiction of the Han family and had to pay tribute every year. In the eyes of these clans, the Han family was the royal family. They ruled over millions of territories and intimidated the world. But now, billions of heavenly punishments were descending upon the sacred land in their hearts. It seemed that there were experts who were determined to die together with the Han family. This is bad. The 10 or so elders of the Han family nearly wet their pants in fright. This terrifying heavenly punishment had already arrived, and its target was the ancestral home of the Han family. The universe's heavenly punishment covered the sky. It was peerlessly terrifying and intimidated billions of creatures. Unparalleled cosmic origin energy transformed into a killing force that covered the entire sacred land. Under the fearful eyes of the world, millions of lightning bolts drowned out the universe and created countless black crack. The origin of destruction descended and directly smashed into the gate of the Han family's ancestral land. "Oh my God!" Cries of alarm sounded from the surrounding several dozen great regions. The rulers of various clans had lost control. Was the heavens collapsing? Was the Han family going to be finished? There was actually an expert who was transcending the heavenly punishment of a mighty figure, and it even directly smashed onto the gates of the Han family's ancestral court. Especially now, large numbers of experts from the surrounding great regions had arrived to watch the battle. The scene before their eyes made them feel as if their hearts and livers were being torn apart. There was also news that spread, shaking the entire world. It's an expert from the Burial Region clan. The Burial Region clan has a taboo overlord. Now, there is a mighty figure and an expert who transcends the heavenly punishment of a mighty figure. They are attacking the Han family from the reincarnation universe. They want to destroy the entire Han family. This is too crazy. The Burial Region clan's experts are standing up for Su Xianren and the others. They directly sent 2 terrifying leaders to overturn the entire Han family. This is a terrifying matter. Has the clan gone crazy? They want to destroy the Han family's orthodoxy. Do you know how many clans they will attract? The deities trembled. Wasn't this action a bit too ruthless? At the slightest provocation, they brought the heavenly punishment of a mighty figure, crossing billions of miles to destroy the Han family. In fact, this was the most terrifying attack the Burial Region clan had ever made in their long years of decline. It was not inferior to the magnificent feat of the old leader who had slaughtered his way into the ancestral court. Now, the entire gate of the Han family's ancestral court was submerged in millions of lightning bolts. Who is transcending tribulation? The Han family that had 1,000,000 years of inheritance were all dumbfounded at this moment. Many people who were in seclusion were shocked. Some people even went crazy. Because the momentum was too fierce, millions of thunderclaps exploded, tearing apart their eardrums. Even with the great gate of the ancestral land isolating them, there was still a heaven-shaking divine sound that spread through the entire region. Many Tao-comprehending cultivators were destroyed in body and soul. This was because in the process of comprehending the Tao, their bodies were crushed by the terrifying great Tao strength and exploded. The entire Han family's ancestral land flowed with rivers of blood. It was incomparably tragic. Someone is transcending tribulation at the gate of our Han family's ancestral land, and they are even attacking the gate. Everyone lost control. Their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as they roared hysterically. All this time, it had been their Han family that stood high above, looking down on all the clans of the world. But now, someone dared to attack their Han family's ancestral land, and even directly use the universe's heavenly punishment to shake the ancestral land. This was a naked humiliation, causing the entire Han family to be enraged. Who is so bold? Our Han family has been established for millions of years, and we have never suffered such a great humiliation. Just as the Han family was about to go crazy with anger, the entire grand realm of life, the holy land of cultivation, began to tremble. Countless black fissures appeared. Mountains collapsed and rivers and seas collapsed, pouring into the fissures. For a time, a small portion of the Han family's ancestral land had completely sunk. Countless palaces, ancient sacred mountains, and land of inheritance crumbled and disintegrated. A large number of cultivators fell into the cracks. The heavens were shaking, and the earth was trembling. Ghosts wept and gods howled. The gods of the Han family were terrified as they saw the gate of the Han family's ancestral land. This was a giant golden gate, but the dense patterns of order were broken. Moreover, the entire gate was torn apart. Boom! At this time, the sound of thunder exploded. The universe's heavenly punishment was vast and mighty, tearing apart the giant gate. No less than 1,000,000,000,000 bolts of lightning struck in, destroying the boundless territory. Almighty heavenly punishment! The gods trembled, and they were incomparably mournful. Who is it? Who is transcending the tribulation at the gate of our Han family's ancestral land? Ah, who is it? They were about to go crazy. The mountain protection formation that the Han family was so proud of was already finished. It had long been snatched away by Su Xianren. The gate that the Almighty had painstakingly built couldn't withstand the barbaric impact of the universe's heavenly punishment. Karma cycle. Suddenly, a figure with a blazing aura forced his way in. He stepped out of the shattered spatial crack and shouted coldly, "Back when I was in the Great Tao realm, your Han family's divine king came to kill me, forcing me into a desperate situation. Now, I will let your Han family have a taste of the bitter fruit." Su Yan's voice was loud and clear, resounding in the Han family's ancestral land, spreading to everyone's ears. "Su Xianren, it's you. It's actually you. You're so ruthless, so ruthless." The group of Han family elders roared, their eyes red. No matter how they thought about it, they couldn't imagine that it was Su Yan who brought people here to transcend the tribulation at the gate of their ancestral land. Ha, how ruthless! No matter how ruthless I am, how can I compare to the viciousness of your Han family? Su Yan glared at them and said coldly, "You've attacked me time and time again, wanting to kill me. Now that the cycle of reincarnation has begun, the end of your Han family has arrived." The entire Han family was incomparably furious. Some were also shocked. Why was it like this? Wasn't Su Yan trapped in the reincarnation universe? How did he come out? What happened in the reincarnation universe? Boom! Earth-shattering thunder suppressed the anger of the Han family. The might of Yi Lingtian's tribulation grew stronger and stronger. The universe's great Tao slashed down, tearing apart this unique domain of life, drawing down boundless lightning that struck between the mountains and the earth. In a short period of time, tens of thousands of mountains collapsed and palaces collapsed. A large number of cultivators also exploded. This was a natural disaster, the power of the universe's heavenly punishment, enough to pose a threat to mighty figures. It struck down boundlessly. This scene was enough to make the Han family despair. What foundation? Now, in the face of the universe's heavenly punishment, all of it had lost its value. This was a heavenly disaster, striking down violently and erasing everything. The world was being beaten until it was wailing. No one has ever dared to bully our Han family like this. Su Yan, you will pay for this with your blood. An elder of the Han family roared angrily. In the depths of the ancestral land, a dormant divine aura had awakened. At least 3 or 4 great Tao divine weapons had been unsealed. They were going to kill their way out and split apart the heavenly punishment. If this continued, the Han family's ancestral land would be completely destroyed, and the world would have one less pure land for cultivation. I, Su Yan, am here. Cultivators of the same generation, do you dare to come and fight? Su Yan's expression was cold. An invincible war god of a generation looked down on the entire Han family like a ruler descending upon the world. These words made the younger generation of the Han family fall silent. The Master Realm Master was smashed by Su Yan with one fist. Who dared to fight him in the same generation? Even if they mustered up the courage to charge up, they would just be asking to be humiliated. Little bastard! Suddenly, the Divine King released his aura. The space in front of Su Yan exploded. A Divine King expert pounced over and said viciously, "You insulted my Han family. I will kill you first, and then I will kill your entire family." This Divine King had a terrifying aura. The moment he attacked, he burned the Divine King's source. He wanted to kill Su Yan in one move. So what if the Divine King is here? "Let your race's gods come out and fight with me." Su Yan's eyes opened wide in rage. He raised his head and roared. His sleeping essence blood burned brightly like a heavenly furnace. It was a shocking scene. Su Yan's roar shook the Han family's ancestral land. Golden ripples surged into the sky and the power of gods and demons was released. One roar shattered mountains and rivers. The Divine King who sneak attacked Su Yan was terrified. The sky full of golden ripples struck down like a million golden mountains pressing down on his body. The Divine King of the Han family cried out in pain. He couldn't take it. Blood flowed from his mouth and nose, and he couldn't stand steadily. Much of the Divine King's source was scattered. "I want you to die." This Divine King was furious. His source power flowed in reverse. The Divine King's domain burned. He wanted to charge over and kill Su Yan. Boom! Su Yan's eyes overflowed with killing intent. As his chest rose and fell, the surroundings rumbled. The sun and moon lost their light. Even the great Tao collapsed. Su Yan was like a great demon god awakening. His chest roared like the mountains and seas, shaking heaven and earth. The heroes of the Han family trembled. Was this still a young man? He was simply a humanoid dragon. Kill! Su Yan's roar was so loud that the mountains crumbled and the seas roared. The gods felt like their livers were being torn apart as they saw Su Yan's black hair fluttering in the wind. With another roar, the Han family's deity king's mortal body was torn apart. Under Su Yan's roar, the Han family's divine king despaired. He couldn't take it anymore. His body finally collapsed and exploded into a mass of bloody light. "Who dares to come out and fight with me?" Su Yan looked down on the entire Han family. He emitted boundless essence energy and suppressed the Han family's younger generation. No one dared to fight him. Chapter 1077. A single roar could shatter mountains and rivers. Peerless divine power overflowed in all directions. Su Yan stood tall in the Han family's ancestral land. Above his head, divine light shone brightly. He was like a great demonic god in the sky. His divine might was incomparable, suppressing the divine realm experts. That Su Xianren, the spectators felt their scalps go numb. They lost control and said, "He killed a divine king with a roar." Oh my god, Su Xianren killed a divine king with a roar. What kind of opportunity did he get in the reincarnation universe? He could actually kill a divine king with a roar. The divine king was killed by a roar. Could it be that Su Xianren has cultivated to the peak of the divine king realm? Many sect masters were scared stiff. Was this still a youngster? How could he break through like a demon king? His aura was too domineering. Although they knew that Su Yan had a human-shaped puppet that could unleash the power of a divine king, it couldn't be so ridiculous as to kill a divine king with a roar, right? In fact, ever since Su Yan stepped into the heavenly god realm and perfected his path of invincibility, he discovered that when he merged with the humanoid puppet, he could unleash the limits of the humanoid puppet's combat strength at the god-king realm. It was even more powerful than when he fought Xiaoming back then. Su Yan was now a peak divine king. This was the power that the human-shaped puppet had bestowed on Su Yan. His combat power was terrifying beyond compare. Although it was an external force, it was still a power that Su Yan could control. "Who dares to fight with me?" Su Yan's hair danced in the wind. Killing light shot out from his eyes. He walked with majestic steps and shouted coldly at the Han family's ancestral land, In the past, your Han family bullied me. Now that I'm here, who dares to stand out and fight with me? Who dares to stand out and fight with me? A tyrannical voice resounded throughout the entire Han family's ancestral land, reverberating in everyone's ears. Su Yan had been oppressed for too long, and now, two almighty characters from the tribes had stood up for him. Su Yan's emotions surged as the blood in his body boiled and ignited, emitting a will that could overturn the Han family. However, the entire younger generation of the Han family was trembling in fear. No one dared to stand out. With a single roar, the Divine King was already dead. Who would dare to go? Even if their Han family had the young Divine King, they still wouldn't be able to compete with Su Yan. The might of this roar had completely shattered the fighting spirit of the younger generation of the Han family. They were all suppressed by one person to the point that they couldn't even raise their heads. Su Xianren has really become an overlord. Some people in the outside world sighed. Every dog had its day. Su Xianren had indeed been oppressed by the Han family. Now that he had ascended the mountain, no one dared to stand out and fight with Su Yan. Su Yan, you're too arrogant. An old Divine King expert stood out and shouted angrily, "You're just relying on the Divine King's puppet. You're just a heavenly god. What are you pretending for? Even if my Han family is destroyed today, it won't be because of you. You're just a piece of trash that relies on the tribe's experts." You. Su Yan pointed at the old expert who had shouted at him and said coldly, "Stand out and fight with me. I don't need the puppet. I can still kill you with my heavenly god realm cultivation." "This old man will kill you, you arrogant brat." The old Divine King expert was so angry that he was about to explode. He didn't care about anything else. If he couldn't keep Su Yan in check, what hope did the Han family have? The younger generation of the tribe couldn't even raise their heads after being suppressed by one person. Even if they could survive this calamity, their Han family would be finished. Kill. This Divine King expert released his strongest Divine King energy to kill Su Yan. He used a great ability right from the start. Using the power of the Divine King's domain, he formed a giant hand of the Divine King and rushed towards Su Yan. The giant hand covered the sky and cut through the dome of heaven. It came down with enough power to destroy the world. Su Yan stepped on the desolate land. His long robes fluttered loudly in the wind. Facing this Divine King's giant hand, he let out a furious roar. The heaven and earth lost their color. The entire space-time seemed to have turned into a strange wheel that began to revolve in front of Su Yan. At this moment, Su Yan was like an immovable mountain, tyrannical to the extreme. Boom! Under the shocked eyes of everyone present, they saw the momentum of the heavens and the earth fluctuating. The heavens emitted killing intent and the stars moved. The earth emitted killing intent and dragons and serpents rose from the land. The world changed. The sun and moon sank and the mountains and rivers rumbled. Space-time seemed to have been cut off. Following Su Yan's aura, the heaven and earth were vaguely replaced by two giant dragons, Yin and Yang. Moreover, the moment they merged together, the world was changing violently to the extreme. Kill! Su Yan roared. It was as if he had grasped the heavens, the earth, the rivers, the mountains, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and even a corner of the universe. He released the power of the fusion of the heavens and earth, evolving a condensed small world that violently smashed towards the Divine King's giant hand. Boom! A thunderous explosion shook the heavens and the earth. Under the trembling eyes of the Han family members, they saw the Divine King's giant hand being pierced through. Su Yan was like a cultivator who had grasped the momentum of the heavens and earth. His supernatural abilities were vast as he borrowed the power of the heavens and earth to fiercely attack. His every move overturned the momentum of the heavens and earth. It was as if he had grasped the universe and bombarded the Divine King. 7th Stage Grandmaster. The spectators found it hard to believe. Su Yan had only obtained the heavenly momentum chapter for a short period of time, but he had already cultivated to the 7th stage domain. Moreover, his grasp of the momentum of the heavens and earth was exquisite beyond compare. He grasped the power of the universe and beat the divine king until he couldn't raise his head. Even his domain was broken. A heavenly deity without the help of external forces is attacking a divine king. Such an attitude caused the experts in the outside world to lose their colors. Without a doubt, Su Yen was now a grandmaster of the occult arts. He was at the heavenly deity realm and could fight against the divine king. "I hate this!" the divine king roared. His clan had flourished with the identity of the founder of the occult arts, eventually becoming the Overlord clan of the primal chaos ruins. But now Su Yen, with his status as a 7th stage occult arts grandmaster without the help of external forces, grasped the momentum of the world and grasped the power of the universe. He forcefully beat the divine king until he couldn't raise his head. Everything was suppressed. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. He simply couldn't stop Su Yen. The divine king's combat strength was suppressed, and he was on the verge of death. It was even to the extent that the reason Su Yen was able to become a grandmaster of the occult arts was related to the Han family. It was the Han family who took the initiative to provoke Su Yen and lost the heavenly momentum chapter. Kill. Join hands and destroy Su Yen. The group of powerhouses from the Han clan could no longer sit still. They charged forward in a frenzy, and terrifying divine power filled the sky and rolled over. "Come, all of you. Let me kill to my heart's content." As Su Yen laughed, the wind and clouds vanished. Demonic energy surged out from his body. The human-shaped puppet once again merged with Su Yen, filling him with supreme power. He could easily tear the divine king apart. His long black hair hung down loosely. The divine king's puppet combined with the momentum of the world caused Su Yan's aura to reach the apex. It was as if he could reverse the situation and fight against a half-step expert. Boom! In a single exchange, the sky was filled with blood and corpses. A large number of cultivators died under Su Yan's fists. Kill. Destroy the Han family. Back then, they bullied my brother because he was weak. Now, the cycle of karma has changed. Destroy the Han family. At this moment, Yuan and the others rushed into the battlefield one after another. A group of outstanding young overlords, one after another, burst out with their auras and filled the entire battlefield. The younger generation of the Han family was truly in despair. Luo Dali, Yuan, and Tensor, the 3 young overlords, joined hands and attacked. They were like 3 blood-colored lightning bolts that destroyed the Han family's ancestral land and began a massacre. Of course, all of this couldn't be compared to the cruelest problem facing the Han family. The universe's heavenly punishment had already reached a frightening level. Boundless tribulations fell, destroying the world. Moreover, during the process of breaking through, Yi Lingtian's absorption ability was abnormal. With every breath, countless heaven and earth essence penetrated his body, giving him a strong foundation. The area within a radius of 100,000 miles turned into a huge black hole. The essence energy was completely sucked away. The territory seemed to be walking towards death and destruction, becoming a wasteland. Since ancient times, who dared to do such a thing? Experts wouldn't choose to break through in their ancestral land. Firstly, the heavenly punishment's destructive power was shocking. Secondly, the divine power required to break through to the realm of Almighty was too abnormal. Normally, such experts would choose to break through in the depths of the universe, or in the universe mystic realms controlled by their race. After all, the throughput of almighty experts was shocking. Although the essence energy in the universe was thin, with the throughput of almighty experts, they could satisfy their needs by cultivating in the depths of the universe for a long time. However, Yi Lingtian was crazily plundering the Han family's ancestral land. This caused the Han family's ancestors to be extremely heartbroken. Even if they withdrew now, the Han family's losses would be immeasurable. more than half of the territory would become a wasteland. The Han family's sacred land had been nurtured for millions of years. Now, with the destruction of the universe's heavenly punishment and Yi Lingtian's absorption, everything was destroyed. Why hasn't the sacred weapon awakened? Our race has 5 sacred weapons of the great Tao. Although we lost one, 4 of them are still slumbering in our ancestral land. Some ancestors were anxious. Yi Lingtian was too overbearing. Step by step, he pushed the universe's heavenly punishment to sweep through the entire ancestral land. He also intimidated the Han family's expert. None of them dared to throw their lives away to stop him. But why hadn't their family's sacred weapon awakened yet? At this time, the depths of the ancestral land were suddenly dyed red by thick blood. It was a terrifying scene. It was as if the gates to hell had opened. Bloody light surged and flooded the sky. No, no. A group of elders trembled and lost control. Blood flowed from the corners of their eyes. Their legs went soft and they fell to the ground, paralyzed. They saw that the depths of the ancestral land were temporarily covered by a powerful energy field. Now that the field was broken, the entire ancestral land was riddled with holes. Blood flowed like a river. How many people had died? Among them, there was an old man with gray hair. He was bathed in blood like a mad dragon. He brandished a bright sword embryo and shattered the entire ancestral land. Heaven and earth were turned upside down. Chi, the group of experts guarding the ancestral land, were all decapitated. This was the peerless sharpness of the sky-cleaving sword. It chopped off the heads of a group of elders and dyed the sky red. The heavens want to destroy our Han family. The cultivators of the Han family trembled in fear. There was actually a powerful being who had already infiltrated the depths of the ancestral land and started a massacre. Moreover, he had taken out a supreme sacred weapon of the great Tao, the sky-cleaving sword, and killed until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Ghosts cried and gods howled. I'm afraid the Han family is finished. The buried realm race is standing up for Su Xianren. I'm afraid they'll destroy the entire Han family in one go. The spectators outside had mixed feelings. Yi Lingtian had triggered the universe's heavenly punishment and blocked the entrance. Xiahou had already killed his way in, using his peak Great Tao sacred weapon to kill. This was a tragic event that had never happened before in this universe era. Some people felt that the Han family was most likely finished. The depths of the ancestral land were riddled with holes. 2 powerful beings had stood up for Su Yan in anger, causing the experts of the universe's myriad races to tremble in fear. The buried realm race had quietly gained 3 powerful beings. This was enough to make the world go crazy. The patriarch has awakened. At this time, an ancient powerful being had emerged from the ancestral land of the Han family. This allowed the Han family to see a ray of hope in their despair. But the patriarch originated from the previous universe era. Even if he stood up now, would he be able to change the course of the battle? The Han family's powerful being. Su Yan's eyes shone. He looked into the depths of the ancestral land and saw the door to a stone hall open. He sat cross-legged in the darkness and said coldly, "A million years have passed. No one can bully my Han family. Your buried realm race has already declined. How dare you offend my Han family? Get out here. I'll cut you down with my sword." Xiahou's entire body was filled with the stench of blood. He held the blood-stained sky-cleaving sword. Ah! The Han family's patriarch laughed angrily. "I've lived for hundreds of thousands of years. I've been worried that a calamity would befall my race. Today I've finally waited. I still have to thank you for bringing me the reincarnation fruit and the source of life of 2 powerful beings, allowing me to stand in my golden age." With these words, the entire Han family went crazy. The patriarch is invincible. Boundless magic power. The patriarch is invincible. Boundless magic power. All the cultivators of the Han family roared. They saw hope. It was as if they could see the two powerful beings dying tragically. It was as if they could see Su Xianren kneeling in front of the Han family and repenting. Chapter 1078. Within the Han family's ancestral land where a blood-red light soared into the heavens, a divine voice rumbled, shaking the heavens and earth. It contained a killing intent that was enough to make ghosts and gods weep. The declining fate of the Han family seemed to be revived. The entire group of clansmen roared. The words of the Han family's old ancestor roused the declining morale of the entire group. All of the clansmen were incomparably excited. Their shouts merged into one, piercing through the blood-red light and startling the myriad races of the universe. For a time, the entire world trembled. Could it be that the situation of the Han family's annihilation was about to be reversed? The Han family has existed for 1,000,000 years. It isn't something that can be destroyed so easily. Outside, an old powerhouse said, "The clan's background still exists. Perhaps they really do have a heaven-defying background that can stabilize their clan's destiny. Now that they have reached the point of extinction, they will definitely bring it out." That's right. Such a strong clan cannot be destroyed so easily. Perhaps the Han family has an ultimate background. Could it be that they will be able to eliminate 2 supreme elders? Isn't that a bit too exaggerated? Let's wait and see. 2 supreme elders have arrived from the burial realm. This supreme elder bathed in the universe's heavenly tribulation will soon succeed in his breakthrough. I want to see just how strong the Han family's background is. The people outside watched with wide eyes. Regardless of the outcome of this battle, it was enough to shake the world. It was also enough to determine the current status of the Burial Realms clan. If there really were 3 supreme elders guarding the clan, then their status as the Overlord clan would undoubtedly be confirmed. Just what cards does the Han family have? Su Yan's eyes were dignified. If an Overlord clan that had existed for 1,000,000 years really were to launch a final counterattack, then it would be incredible. Following which, his gaze fell upon a simple stone temple. After looking at it for a moment, Su Yan's complexion changed. This was a supreme treasure born from the heavens and earth, and it had formed a stone temple. The stone temple didn't look too large. It was simple and unadorned, filled with the aura of time. But under Su Yan's observation, he could clearly see that the stone temple was covered with dense and mysterious textures. They were shaped like a true dragon, a qilin, a black tortoise. This was a rare treasure nurtured by the earth, and its value was immeasurable. The world inside the stone palace was an independent spacetime, isolated from the rest of the world. No wonder the powerful beings of the Han family could live for an entire universe epoch. So it was because of the suppression of the stone palace. Also, the stone palace should be located on a small chaotic dragon vein. Su Yan exclaimed, then coldly snorted. However, although this almighty being has lived for more than 100,000 years, his main body shouldn't have much battle strength left. I want to know how much strength the Han family has left. Boom. Under the gazes of everyone present, a figure stood up at the door of the ancient stone hall. He seemed to be a demon god standing in the darkness, and his aura was cold and gloomy. When this person walked out, it caused a huge commotion. This was a mighty figure who was so old that his body was about to rot. He wore an ancient Taoist robe, and his body swayed as he walked, as if he would fall to the ground at any moment. However, as he walked step by step, his dormant aura began to grow stronger and stronger. Finally, a majestic and ancient aura swept through the entire Han family's ancestral land. This was the aura of a powerful being. Although he was in a terrible state of decline, he did his best to recover and was filled with a world-shaking divine might. A powerful being who had declined to the extreme, who originated from the previous universe epoch and had lived for more than 100,000 years. Just this identity alone was already incredible. You bullied my Han family. Today, I will make you pay with your blood. His withered eyes scanned the miserable state of the Han clan, and he let out a howl. The blood-colored light that filled the sky exploded, and the light of order surged out from his ancient fleshly body, causing the Han clan ancestral land to seem as if it were about to come back to life. Ancestor is invincible, his magic power is boundless. Kill that brat Su Yen. Avenge our clan. Avenge. Everyone in the Han family was filled with anger, and their eyes were bloodshot. They roared out the anger in their hearts, and they were even more confident in the Han family's ancestor. They felt that the Han family's heritage of 1,000,000 years must have a shocking foundation that could kill a powerful being. Damn it, quickly hypnotize me. Bao Kai, who was digging up treasuries all over the place, was cursing and swearing, saying that the old ancestor was unrivaled and his magical force was boundless. This shocked Bao Kai until he felt uneasy. After all, their race had been passed down for millions of years. The people of this race felt that they had the most powerful background and could kill a powerful being. In fact, they didn't know whether their clan had such a foundation, but the words of the Han family's ancestor made them feel that they definitely had such a foundation. What a great way to bully your Han family! Yi Lingtian, who was in the middle of the lightning tribulation, coldly snorted. His body rippled, and his blood essence surged. His aura swallowed the entire region, and he suppressed the Han family's ancestors' power with lightning speed. He said angrily, "Your Han family has repeatedly bullied my clan's juniors, and you still have the face to say such words? I feel ashamed for your Han family." Yi Lingtian was furious. The blood essence in his body was like the sea of the universe, and the suppression of the Han family's light was directly extinguished. The earth sank into darkness, and only his immortal furnace was burning fiercely. "Your clan's juniors dared to touch my clan's heritage. You shall be punished," the Han family's ancestor replied. He had already walked out of the stone hall and stood in the middle of the blood-stained Han family's ancestral land. His entire body emitted a strange energy fluctuation, and the entire blood-stained region rippled with a grand aura. Su Yan's face sank. The Han family's ancestral land seemed to have awakened. He could clearly sense a shocking energy fluctuation awakening. This should be the Han family's foundation. "Since you bullied my clan, then I'll exterminate your Han family." Yi Lingtian was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. The extremely ferocious cosmic heavenly tribulation energy continued to be released, erupting. Billions of lightning bolts directly bombarded the earth, layer by layer, overturning the entire region of life. "My Han family has existed for millions of years. How dare you two clowns spout nonsense in my ancestral land?" The Han family's ancestor emitted a strange energy fluctuation. In a short period of time, the Han family's ancestral land had really been revived. Everyone was in disbelief. The Han family's ancestral land had changed, and the Holy Land was being reenacted. "Be careful, Grandpa Xiao. This is the technique of a rank 8 Grandmaster of the Strange Gate. Even the ancestors of the Han family used the power of the Strange Gate to completely transform their ancestral land." "That's right." Su Yan's face was solemn. He hadn't expected the Han family's ancestor to be an 8th-grade Grandmaster. But this wasn't even important. What was important was that the Han family's ancestral land had been transformed. How much effort and resources had it taken to complete such a project? "It's fine." Xiao's reply made Su Yan scratch his head. Why should he be worried? The old leader was a supreme expert. As for Xiao and the others, they had been fighting for hegemony for thousands of years. They had seen all kinds of scenes. No matter how strong the Han family was, they couldn't be compared to the ancestral hall. Heaven and earth reenacted. The expressions of the spectating experts from the outside world changed. They saw the shattered mountains, rivers, and great earth being reconstructed. The bloody radiance scattered throughout the ancestral land evaporated, and the starry skies were rearranged. Moreover, it was descending, crushing down on the Han family's great region. This was the supreme method of an 8th-grade Grandmaster. Of course, this wasn't the most important thing. My family's foundation, revive. Meet the enemy and kill them all. The Han family's ancestor roared. He seemed to have turned into the core of the world. The Han family's ancestral land was burning. Boom! The surrounding large territories were trembling. At this moment, the Han family's ancestral land seemed to be divided, full of supreme fluctuations. It was to the extent that this sacred Pure Land was revived. When it breathed out, it was like a giant dragon, causing the surrounding dozens of great regions to dim and lose their luster. The boundless territory was reduced to a wasteland. The dragon veins dried up one after another, and the precious cultivation lands had their life energy extinguished. The four sides of the world and a huge amount of divine power belonged to the Han family. Han family, you are so cruel. An ancestor of a great sect lost control and roared, "You are so cruel. You've been plotting for millions of years. You are too vicious. My ancestral land's dragon veins have dried up. Han family, you are too vicious." The surrounding large territories were almost turned into wasteland. Countless people were shouting and cursing. This was because the boundless spiritual essence had been completely sucked out, and all of it had been absorbed by the Han family's ancestral land. Su Yan's heart trembled. This was the method of an 8th-grade grandmaster. Moreover, after a long time, the Han family had spared no effort to change the structure of millions of li of territory. Once the Han family met with a calamity, these large territories would become nourishment for the Han family, providing them with peerless divine power. The powerful expert's heavenly punishment has dispersed. This method is too powerful. It can confuse heaven's secrets. Even the powerful expert's heavenly punishment has been isolated. The spectators who had rushed over were shocked. This was the Han family's peerless foundation. During the revival process, they had swallowed the surrounding large territory's boundless life essence. Moreover, the entire great territory of life was overflowing with resplendent light. It had become the #1 territory in the primal chaos ruins. The ancestor is invincible. His magical power is boundless. The ancestor is invincible. His magical power is boundless. The members of the Han family were wild with excitement. They let out hysterical roars. What kind of method was this? Could change the heavens and the earth. It was omnipotent and magical. The Han family's ancestor was powerful to an inconceivable degree. This large territory contained the life essence of dozens of large territories. It was connected to the ancestral land, causing the entire ancestral land to be filled with a supreme pressure. Magical power is boundless. Law your grandpa. The Baokai was furious. It was completely different from before when it was sick. It was full of vigor and vitality. Around its neck were dozens of nearly bursting void bags. It had plowed through the entire area and dug out over 100 secret treasure vaults. It was so excited that the Han family's ancestral land had awakened and turned into an impenetrable fortress. It was difficult to explore and excavate. So what if you are a powerful expert? In front of my Han family, you still have to submit and tremble? The Han family's ancestor did not care about the consequences. Right now, nothing could compare to the danger the Han family was facing. Bang! The Han family's ancestral land interweaved with beams of light that caused the gods to tremble. In particular, in Su Yan's universal eye, the Han family's ancestral land had turned into a supreme killing array. Sometimes it turned into an azure dragon. Sometimes it turned into a qilin. Sometimes it turned into a black tortoise. Sometimes it turned into a Kuan Pering, transforming all things. Su Yan was speechless. This was the Han family's glorious era. The unique environment created by the ancestors of each generation had been awakened in this era. It was as if the supreme power of each generation of ancestors had been released. A terrifying and boundless strength rose and fell. This was the divine might of the entire region. It evolved into a killing saint technique that attacked Xiahou. Even Xiahou, who wielded the heaven-cleaving sword, was forced back several steps by this abnormal killing saint technique. It was difficult for him to resist. Xiahou was moved. This was a supreme secret technique of the occult sect. It evolved the power of all things and suppressed the enemy. Let's see how many times you can withstand. The Han family's ancestor angrily laughed. The Han family's ancestral land once again began to devour everything. The surrounding large regions were thrown into turmoil. Large black cracks appeared in many places. Some great sects were even torn apart. This matter caused great chaos and panic. The Han family's ancestor wanted to kill a powerful expert and seize the source of life of the vast universe. But the price was that he might sacrifice the surrounding large regions. This method was extremely cruel. At that time, countless cultivators would be left homeless. There would also be families with ancient inheritances that would lose their family territories. After dozens of killing attacks, Xiahou was beaten until he was unable to stand steadily. Finally, he let out a heaven-shaking roar. A terrifying figure appeared behind him, emitting a source of divine force that could explode the sea of stars. The old chief has come. Yuan was incomparably excited. This was the idol of his heart, the god of war. Just this figure, whose sharpness couldn't be suppressed by the sea of stars, had already opened up the terrifying ancestral ground of the Han clan. The divine might of an absolute almighty was unobstructed at a glance. They had cultivated to the pinnacle, and once they went crazy, a corner of the universe would collapse. Even the vast ancestral ground of the Han clan was trembling. Chapter 1079. Within the entire Han family's ancestral land, the most divine and most holy of all, the Qiongqi profound mysteries evolved, filling the air with fluctuations that could cleave apart the world. Tens of millions of miles of territory fell into darkness. This dark world fell into chaos and panic. In a short period of time, too many tribes and clans collapsed, their dragon veins torn apart. The vast region was reduced to a wasteland. Dozens of great regions were in a terrible state. Many people were crying and roaring. There were also some spectating powerhouses who sighed. This was the accumulation of the Han family's resources over the years. After all, they were a branch of the Strange Gate, and they were able to trespass and change the world. But who would have thought that the Han family would do such a daring thing? Of course, this was the Han family's territory, and there weren't any particularly strong tribes or clans. Even if they did this, they were confident that they could suppress this terrifying storm. At the same time, the Han family's current actions also proved their resources. Even Xiahou, a savage who wielded the heaven-cleaving sword, had been suppressed. No matter how strong Xiahou was, he couldn't resist the endless suppression of the universe's strength. If this continued, even an almighty expert would suffer heavy losses. But no one could have imagined that behind Xiahou, an imposing figure would appear. This figure was like an overlord that ruled over the world, and the aura that flowed out from his body caused the stars in the sky to explode. The Han family's structure began to tremble under the pressure of this awakening figure. It was as if time and space were about to explode and submit to the old chief. An absolute almighty expert. The spectators outside trembled. Could it be that the three almighty experts of the buried region had gathered here? Once an absolute almighty expert Tyrant Ren took action, who could stop him? Even within the Han family's ancestral history, there had never been an absolute almighty expert. Without a doubt, the old chief of the buried region was an absolute almighty expert. In the past, as long as the taboo didn't appear, an absolute almighty expert would be the highest god. They would stand at the peak of the domain, and their strength would reach an incomprehensible degree. But now, the old chief's figure soared through the skies like a terrifying blazing sun. He shook the entire structure of the Han family's ancestral land, and the entire spacetime seemed as if it would explode under the pressure of an absolute almighty expert. Peerless Almighty, is my Han family really going to be defeated? The Han family was filled with alarmed voices. Their scalps went numb. This figure seemed to have transcended the past, present, and future. It was as if a taboo giant was awakening and emitting boundless divine might that intimidated everyone present. Even the sacred land of the Han family, which had devoured the essence of dozens of regions, was on the verge of collapse. It couldn't suppress the aura of the Almighties at all. That year, the old leader of the buried region appeared out of nowhere and slaughtered his way to the ancestral hall's territory. His style was peerless, and he even killed an almighty expert with one punch. This kind of legend and glory was passed down in many races to this day. Rumor had it that when a supreme being was enraged, they could slay enemies from hundreds of millions of miles away. This kind of existence was too rare. The number of supreme beings in the entire universe could be counted on one's fingers. Haha, you want to overthrow my clan with just a mark of an almighty? You are really delusional. At this moment, the angry laughter of the Han family's ancestor rang out, causing the expressions of Su Yen and the others to change. This was only an imprint of the ancestor, a killing move, and not the ancestor himself. The ancestor couldn't come to the primal Chaos Land. Once he did, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, the Ancestral Hall and the other races had been keeping an eye on the Milky Way galaxy. Once the Milky Way galaxy was breached, the buried region's rear progenitor would be lost. I think it's enough. Xiahou roared. The figure behind him began to erupt along with his aura. The ancestor's figure was too imposing. The moment his aura spread out, the entire Han family's ancestral land began to tremble, and many large cracks appeared. Could it be that the Han family still has a trump card? The Han family's ancestors' words caused the experts in the outside world to feel apprehensive. If the Han family could withstand the attack of an almighty expert, then it would be terrifying. But was it possible? After all, if they could withstand an almighty expert, then their Han family wouldn't need to fear any other race under the heavens. Their status would be even more shocking than before. Ignorant fool, I'll let you know what an immortal's foundation is, and what a former king is. The Han family's ancestor's eyes flashed with determination. His voice was sinister as he said, after killing 2 almighty experts and erasing the imprint of an almighty expert, my Han family is destined to regain the lost glory of our ancestors. Ancestors of the past, come out of seclusion and protect the Han family. Intimidate all enemies. The Han family's ancestors' eyes were filled with madness. Suddenly, the trembling Han family's ancestral land began to emit a terrifying aura. Boom! Layer after layer of imposing aura filled the entire Han family's ancestral land. It was as if many condensed universes were opening up, blooming in the Han family's ancestral land. They emitted a pressure that originated from the river of time, spreading out for hundreds of millions of li. This is... Su Yen felt a headache coming on. The Han family's ancestral land seemed as if the heroic spirits of the past ancestors had returned. One after another, enormous figures filled the sea of stars, overlooking all living beings. More than 10 terrifying figures appeared, as if they had returned from prehistoric times. At the same time, an extremely vast source of energy was being unsealed. This is my family's strongest foundation. All the members of the Han family shouted. They were so excited that they fell to their knees, kowtowing towards the floating figures. These were the imprints of the Han family's ancestors. They were buried in the Han family's ancestral land, sharing life and death with the entire Han family. In fact, it was as if more than 10 great dragon veins had opened up in the Han family's ancestral land, gushing out with boundless divine energy. This was the energy essence that the Han family had accumulated for millions of years. At the critical moment of release, the entire Han family's ancestral land turned into a holy land. Boom! A boundless aura was released, sweeping across the vast world. It shook the distant lands, as if it wanted to sink the oceans. It's the Han family. In the distant lands, the crowd was terrified as they saw the Han family's blazing brilliance. They had opened up their strongest foundation, activating more than 10 imprints of the Han family's ancestors, and releasing the divine energy they had accumulated for millions of years. On this day, the Han family was the focus of the entire world. It was glorious to the extreme. Even the old leader's imposing figure was suppressed by the radiance of his light. Heavens, they're too strong. They're worthy of being the founding power of the strange sect. They've accumulated an immeasurable foundation, and even imprints of their ancestors have been preserved to this day. Peerless foundation, who can compete with them? The experts who came to watch the battle cried out in surprise. Facing such a foundation, even some of the peak clans dared to challenge it. The Han family's accumulation had surpassed the world's imagination. Once it was awakened, it shocked the world. If we can't stop them, we'll have to retreat. Xiao's voice rang out, causing Su Yan to clench his fists. The Han family's foundation was too strong. Unless the old leader came personally, there was no way they could destroy the entire Han family. However, the Han family's ultimate trump card had already been released. Even if they were to retract it now, their foundation would be greatly damaged, and it would be extremely difficult for them to accumulate to their current level. Even Xiao and the rest did not suffer any losses, and were able to kill to their heart's content. In the future, the Han family would not be a threat to them. Just relying on the old ancestor of the Han family, who was nearing the end of his lifespan, would not be able to do anything. However, Xiao and the rest were regretful that they had not excavated the Han family's treasury yet. It's a pity to leave now. Su Yan's eyes shone brightly as he transmitted his voice to Xiao, telling him to hold on for a while longer. He might have a way to reverse the situation. Su Yan's figure disappeared. At this time, no one would pay attention to Su Yan and the rest. How is it? The Han family's old ancestor looked down at Xiao and the rest, coldly saying, "My clan is the true king. Your declining clan can't even be called bronze." "Ha! It can be seen on the stage," Xiao replied. Although he did not know how confident Su Yan was, he still had to give it a try. They had already killed their way to this level, and it would be too much of a pity to leave now. "Kiki, you really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." The Han family's old ancestor laughed sinisterly. "I'm looking forward to the source of your almighty strength. My hope of living another life is also on your bodies. Have you thought about it? Your clan almost turned the surrounding dozens of large regions into wasteland. Can you bear the karma of this?" Xiao asked calmly. "Haha, the strong is the king. This has always been the truth since ancient times. What does the world know? Do you dare to say something unpleasant in front of my Han family?" The Han family's old ancestor laughed coldly. It seemed that he had a complete grasp of the current situation, and there would not be any accidents. "The longer you live, the more you fear death. If you had defended with your foundation, I wouldn't have been able to use the divine ability of an almighty. But you're just doing it for your own selfish desires." Xiao's voice rumbled, shaking the 4 seas and spreading into the ears of countless living beings. Even if he had to retreat, even if he failed, he would make the Han family's future miserable and plant a seed of disaster. "Winner takes all. I'll send you on your way." The Han family's old ancestor gritted his teeth and roared. The Han family's foundation finally began to burn, and the boundless sea of life also began to burn. However, the moment this sea of life that had been accumulating for 1,000,000 years was about to be released, a figure attracted everyone's attention. His figure was erratic, as if he was stepping on a space-time node. Step by step, he penetrated through a complex and terrifying layout. The Han family's old elders turned pale with fright. They had completely lost control. Their clan's foundation was guarded by the Mystic Gates layout, but they had missed out on one person. Su Yen had obtained the Heavenly Force chapter, and he was also a Mystic Gates Grandmaster. However, some of the old elders were still calm. With their clan's foundation, it was impossible for Su Yen to easily break in. However, none of them had expected Su Yen to summon a Grade 7 Genesis brush, open his universe eye, and travel through the illusory space of the River of Stars. Step by step, he had charged in. You evil creature, what can you change if you break in? Can you change the layout? However, the Han family's old ancestor was extremely disdainful. Could Su Yen block the essence of 1,000,000 years of accumulation? He would most likely be destroyed in a single exchange. I'll kill you first. The Han family's old ancestor smiled sinisterly. He wanted to destroy Su Yen first. Perhaps the immortal Tao material that some great figure in history had gifted to the Han family was still in Su Yan's hands. But Yi Lingtian rushed over to block the Han family's old ancestor. He was buying time for Su Yen. Although Yi Lingtian did not know what method Su Yen had to block the Sea of Life, since Su Yen had gone, he must have a certain degree of confidence. You're overestimating yourself. What can this evil creature change? Since my clan's foundation has been unleashed, no one can stop you from being completely annihilated. The Han family's old ancestor sneered. He did not choose to fight Yi Lingtian, even though the other party was not yet a mighty figure. His body suddenly soared into the air. He wanted to be like his ancestors, bathing in the energy of the Sea of Life and prolonging the aging of the human body. In truth, this 1,000,000 years of accumulation was all for the sake of the Han family's future. In the future, when the Han family faced a life and death crisis, the Sea of Life would allow the dozen or so old ancestors to temporarily revive their divine might and fight against powerful enemies. It's about to begin. The Han family's strongest foundation has been unleashed. Once the dozen or so mighty figures are temporarily revived, this will be an earth-shattering event. Under the gazes of tens of thousands of people, the Sea of Life suddenly began to churn. Boom! The Sea of Life that had been dormant for 1,000,000 years suddenly surged, emitting millions of rays of divine light. The void shattered, and the entire Han family's ancestral land trembled violently. It was as if this vast divine power would directly cause it to explode. Chapter 1080. This foundation. What a Han family! Many great sect masters were trembling inwardly. This was a truly world-shaking foundation that had been accumulated for an entire 1,000,000 years. It was a bit hard to believe. At this moment, the Han family was truly glorious. Their foundation could challenge the life-forbidden zone or even the ancestral hall. Once the Sea of Life was released, this Sea of Life that had been accumulated for countless years would temporarily revive the Han family's ancestral marks and protect the Han family's ancestral land. It was very likely that there would be a dozen powerful beings guarding the clan for a short period of time. Just think about it and one would know how strong the Han family's foundation was. They might even be able to keep Xiaohou and the others here. They're really strong beyond belief. The Han family is really scary. I'm afraid Su Xianren and the others will suffer a great loss. They might even be kept here. The experts who had gathered to watch the battle were all shocked. The Han family's unparalleled foundation was released at the moment of life and death. Once the dozen powerful beings were revived, it would be a situation that could burn the world down. The Han family is invincible in the dilapidated ancestral land of the Han family. Shouts resounded through the heavens and the earth, accompanied by the divine sound of the Sea of Life, exploded and shook the heavens and the earth. This group of people seemed to have restored the most glorious era of their ancestors. Can Su Yen stop it? Yuan and the others shuddered in fear. The silent Sea of Life surged, and millions upon millions of huge waves surged. It was enough to destroy the entire great domain of life. A divine king would be crushed into pieces in a single move, and even a mighty figure would suffer a terrifying blow. Now, Su Yen was standing on the opposite side of the Sea of Life. His figure was so small that it was hard to see clearly. Boom! When the sound of a dam bursting with despair exploded, it was as if the sky was collapsing. Large black cracks appeared in space and time. This was a scene that made people tremble. The flood of life surged and roared, rushing over. The moment it crushed everything, it directly submerged Su Yen. At this moment, the people of the world seemed to have seen Su Yen disappear, crushed into ashes. Ha ha ha, Su Xianren, you overestimate yourself. So what if you break in? So what if there is a great fortune in front of you? But can you suppress it? Su Yen, you will die without a burial site. This is the result of provoking my Han family. Within the Han family's ancestral land, mocking laughter reverberated. They could see the trillions of energy essence crushing down, submerging Su Yen and crushing him to pieces. I originally thought that Su Yen would have a way to balance the Sea of Life. It seems that I overestimated him. After all, he is just a young man and has overestimated himself. The spectators in the outside world couldn't help but laugh. It hadn't even begun, yet it was already over. Something's wrong. However, there were powerhouses who opened their heavenly eyes to watch. They could see that the immeasurable life essence that rushed out was beginning to decline at a terrifying speed, weakening with such a vast sea of life. Even if a supreme being were to break in, they wouldn't necessarily have a good ending. Although cultivators could devour the power of life to grow, if the power of life was strong enough, it could also destroy powerhouses. But now, what were some people seeing? The immensely vast sea of life was rapidly declining at a strange speed. It was like a colossus was devouring the sea of life's immeasurable divine treasury. Eat, eat, eat to your heart's content. Su Yen smiled brightly. The more the dragon totem absorbed, the better. Not only could it restore the dragon totem's might, but it could even destroy the Han family's ultimate foundation. The reason he dared to come here was because of the dragon totem's freakish absorption speed. The sea of life that the Han family had accumulated for 1,000,000 years could absolutely satisfy the dragon totem's terrifying needs. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? Many people lost control and screamed. How did Su Xianren accomplish this? Even a supreme being would find it extremely difficult to do so. The entire Han family fell into a strange silence. This was awkward. They had already unleashed their strongest foundation, but because of Su Yen, such a ridiculous change occurred. Many people in the Han family even had thoughts of suicide. There were even elders who had been sleeping for thousands of years, crying out in grief. Why did they provoke Su Yen? Why did they want to kill him? Why did they bet with him on the Heavenly Influence chapter? But it was too late to say anything now. Everything was too late. Even if the Han family could survive this calamity, would they still have any hope of standing up in the future? He believed that just the tribes and factions in the surrounding dozens of regions could devour the Han family until nothing was left. Bastard! The Han family's old ancestor let out a roar of shock. Blood almost burst out from the corner of his eyes. The grand plan had already begun, but because of a heavenly god junior, it was all ruined. But he really couldn't figure out how Su Yen had done it. Even Xiahou and the others couldn't figure out how Su Yen had swallowed the limitless life essence of the Sea of Life. Just what had this brat done? You little bastard, stop for me! The Han family's old ancestor lost control and roared. The declining blood essence of a supreme being directly erupted. Even the dozen or so ancestral marks that had awakened in the tribe swarmed over, wanting to kill their way into the Sea of Life and stop Su Yen. He hoped that there was still time. Boom! Amidst the roaring killing intent, the entire ancestral land of the Han family was boiling. Dozens of grand auras surged, piercing through the heavens and piercing through the heavens. The terrifying pressure of the long river of time filled the entire area. Just this kind of lineup was enough to deter any supreme being from acting rashly. However, the old leader's figure behind Xiahou was still as iron-blooded and tyrannical as before. He stood between the heavens and earth, looking down on all life. So what if there were dozens of Han family ancestral marks? The old leader's mark was enough to replace his main body for a short period of time. Although it couldn't compare to his main body's greatest strength, it wasn't much weaker. Kill! The old leader's mark seemed to come alive. With a cold shout, he activated his invincible strength and directly blocked the dozens of Han family ancestral marks. This was a scene worthy of the world's reverence. So what if there were dozens of Supreme Being marks? In front of the old leader, they were clearly weak and small. It was the same as dozens of extremely declining Supreme Beings facing a Supreme Being that had stood tall in his golden years. After all, these dozen or so marks required a massive amount of life essence in order to recover their peak strength. But the old leader's mark was something that he had just evolved not too long ago. The mark of a Supreme Being was not so easy to evolve. It required the consumption of an immeasurable amount of blood essence in order to form a killing mark. Bastards, I want you to die. Die. The Han family old ancestor roared like a madman. He summoned the 4 heaven-suppressing stones and fiercely attacked, wanting to break through the defensive line. Right now, the Sea of Life was his only hope. Once the Sea of Life was extinguished, the Han family would likely be annihilated. You still dare to bully the weak and target my family's juniors? Xiahou coldly shouted. He summoned the heaven-cleaving sword to meet the attack. The sword's edge was peerless, and sword light surged out like a tide. In an instant, the 4 heaven-suppressing stones were sent flying. He sneered at the Han family old ancestor and said, "Old bastard, you can still summon waves even now? Hand over your life." Within the Han family's ancestral land, the battle between Supreme Beings had already begun. The entire great region was on the verge of collapse. All sorts of lights of order collided, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. The surrounding great regions were shaken. There were also people who stared at the Sea of Life, feeling apprehensive. Just what method had Su Yan used? Stealing the divine power spurting out from the Sea of Life that was constantly erupting? It's all because of him, it's all because of him. A Han family elder roared, "Su Xianren, you must kill him. It's all because of him that our Han family has fallen to such a state. Su Xianren, he must die. Even if our Han family is annihilated, we must kill Su Xianren." A large number of Han family members rushed madly towards Su Yan. They were very clear that their family's strongest foundation had been interrupted because of Su Yan. If their foundation could not be revived, then their Han family would truly be finished. Kill. The entire Han family's ancestral land was in ruins. Battle cries shook the heavens. This was a killing intent targeted at Su Yan. From all directions, large numbers of cultivators flew over, bringing out all sorts of killing weapons. Many of their eyes were filled with madness. They wanted to kill Su Yan. Even if their entire clan was annihilated, they wanted to kill Su Yan. "Come, I, Su Yan, am not afraid of you." Su Yan stood tall in the Sea of Life, his long hair fluttering in the wind. Killing intent shot out from his eyes as he let out an explosive roar, releasing his essence, energy, and spirit. He was like a demonic god soaring through the sky. His body was blazing, releasing the power of a demonic god. It shook the heavens and earth and filled the entire place. This was a kind of great might that was unrivaled in the same generation. Even the Divine King felt an unprecedented pressure. "Why did you provoke him?" A senior elder roared. Su Yan's power made him feel despair. This was a young man, but he felt as if he was facing an ancient monster. "This is our only hope. Kill Su Yan, open the Sea of Life, and restore our clan's foundation." Groups of experts madly rushed over, wanting to stop Su Yan and open the Sea of Life that he had blocked. "You dare to join forces against my brother? The Han family is finished. Luo de Li and the other two joined forces. The three young experts' blood essence was vigorous, and their auras were astonishing. They emitted cold killing intent as they rushed into the battlefield. The Han family's situation was clear. Yi Lingtian was eyeing the Han family covetously. He patrolled the area and hunted down the half-step powerhouses of the Han family who were still alive. He did not interfere in the bloody battle between Su Yan and the experts of the Han family. Xiahou and the old chief blocked the Han family's strongest foundation. This was a power struggle that would affect the entire situation. Boom! Over at the Sea of Life, a great battle was ignited. Divine light covered the sky and earth. Su Yan and the other two experts guarded the gate of the Sea of Life and fought side by side. They used their strongest combat power and bombarded the experts of the Han family who were rushing over, starting a bloody battle. Come if you're not afraid of death. Today, I'll kill to my heart's content. The four experts soared through the sky like four blazing suns, emitting a ferocious might that could sweep through the world. Yuan and the others roared as terrifying auras surged within their bodies. Very few cultivators below the Divine King could withstand a single blow from them. Kill Su Yan. Our Han family can still continue the bloodline of our clan. Kill him. The eyes of the dozen or so Divine King revealed madness as they joined forces against Su Yan. The scene was too spectacular. However, Su Yan had the help of the humanoid puppet and the power of the occult arts grandmaster. He was completely a peak Divine King as he fought against all the Divine King experts. Kill! Su Yan's eyes were completely bloodshot as he endured the dozen or so layers of the Divine King's domain. He let out a loud roar, causing the blood and chi of the experts to tremble violently. A large number of cultivators around him exploded. Su Yan was bathed in blood as he madly charged into the midst of the Divine King's group. His blood-stained body burned with divine light as his combat strength erupted. His essence blood rushed into the clouds as his roar shook the starry skies. Stop him! The dozen or so Divine King cried out in alarm as they tried their best to resist. However, Su Xianren had gone berserk. His tyrannical aura had reached the extreme and overturned the Divine King's domain. He charged forward like a blood-soaked demon god. It was difficult to look straight at him. No! This Divine King was terrified. His scalp went numb as he was completely suppressed by Su Xianren. He wanted to reverse the Divine King's origin, but Su Yan's terrifying aura caused the world to tremble. Vaguely, the Divine King's blood splashed out and dyed the firmament red. Everyone saw that this Divine King screamed miserably. In the process of resisting, his arm was directly broken by Su Yan. Then, Su Yan held the immortal iron rod and smashed it into pieces in the void. The Divine King is nothing. I'll kill him all the same, Su Yan said coldly. He had once been so weak that he couldn't even withstand a single blow from the Divine King. Now, Su Yan was unafraid of all the kings in the world. Moreover, he was able to kill a deity king in such a situation, causing the experts of the Han clan to tremble in fear. If the half-step supreme experts didn't intervene, who would be able to stop the violent, ruthless Su? Chapter 1081. Murderous light surged in this ruined world, the heavens weeping blood, the sun and moon without light. The scene here was horrifying, all types of divine abilities blossoming, great Tao light igniting, destructive aura spreading out. Hong. The four great experts attacked in all directions, joining hands to kill the enemy, killing until the enemy truly dared. Who could stop them? The Han family's Divine King was stopped by Su Yan alone. How could the others be a match for Luo de Li's group? In short, corpses piled up like mountains in the Sea of Life, blood flowing like a long river. This battle truly ignited their madness, even more so igniting the battle blood that had suppressed Su Yan for so long. In the final moment, many of the attackers were terrified. Kill! Su Yan released a great roar, the battle blood within his body surging, absorbing the endless essence of the Sea of Life, immediately breaking through to the fifth layer of the heavenly deity realm. He was like a terrifying star as he charged forward, suppressing the endless stream of enemies until they fell weak onto the ground. Breaking through in the middle of battle, Su Yan's head of blood-dyed long hair scattered down, his aura toppling mountains and overturning seas. He became more and more courageous the more he fought. This was a cruel blow to the enemy. In the end, Su Yan's aura erupted, moving like a god or devil, shocking heaven and earth, blasting away large amounts of enemies in front, many of them exploding in the air. This kind of terrifying vicious might made the spectators outside tremble. Was this still a heavenly deity? His divine force was exuberant like an old monster that had cultivated for 10,000 years, difficult to measure his foundation. Ha ha ha, let's join hands and kill to our heart's content. Luo de Li's group of 4 great experts laughed loudly, divine bravery unmatched, about to sweep through the entire Han family. Why did you make my clan suffer this? Why did you provoke Su Xianren? An old monster from the Han family who had lived for 10,000 years roared. Who would have thought that Su Xianren would grow to this level? Who would have thought that the declining Burial Region clan would rise up? He was very clear that the Han clan was completely finished. The younger generation was either dead, injured, or in despair. Many of the clan members were fleeing in all directions. Clearly, they had lost their confidence and felt despair. The only thing they could do was to flee. They did not want to face all of this. The powerhouses of the older generation had already been mostly killed by Xiahou previously. Even from the beginning of the war until now, none of the hundreds of powerful warriors guarding the secret realms in the outside world had returned to reinforce the clan. What did this mean? Not only the Han family's ancestral land, but the Han family's various universe secret regions had also been invaded by powerful enemies. The various secret realms under the jurisdiction of this clan had already been dyed red with blood. How long could the ancestral power of the occult sect, which had been passed down for millions of years, last? Even if they survived this calamity, how long could their clans last? Strong against strong, weak against weak. Someone from the outside world side. How ironic. Yi Lingtian has been watching the battle between Su Yan and the rest without interfering. If Yi Lingtian had interfered, this group of people would have been annihilated long ago. The Han family has been ruined. They lost too miserably. So many experts joined forces, but they couldn't stop 4 youngsters. Is Su Xianren's era coming? Zhu Tian died in battle, the northern goblin nursed a grievance, Sun Dome's fate is unknown, and the heaven-suppressing battle god's head was chopped off by Su Yan. A group of the peak warriors of the younger generation have died at the hands of this group. Although they have Qiu Ming and the other divine king above them, with the potential of Su Yan and the rest, they won't need many years to step into the divine king realm. More and more spectators gathered in the outside world. Many people sighed. They had originally thought that the reincarnation universe was Su Yan's death zone, but the contrast was too great. The clan's 2 powerhouses had killed their way in, and they had even visited the Han family to destroy a great orthodoxy. The impact of this matter was too great. Once news of this spread, the entire world would tremble. A clan that had once been in decline was about to rise again. After all, the clan's younger generation had Su Yan and the others. Once this group of young kings rose up, they would become a terrifying group that would intimidate the entire universe. People could foresee that the chaos ruins would feel suffocated because of their existence. The Han family's foundation is about to collapse. Without the replenishment of the Sea of Life, their supreme expert imprints will soon disappear. There were also people who were paying attention to the struggle between the old chief and the 10 supreme expert imprints. A supreme expert was a supreme expert after all. They were terrifying beyond compare and could look down on the past, present, and future. Relying on their own strength, they were able to contend against 10 supreme expert imprints. Even in the face of the suppression of 10 layers of the universe, the old chief still stood at the apex. He struck the 10 supreme expert imprints until they became dim and lightless. One after another, their figures appeared and were about to disappear into space and time. The Han family's ancestor cried out miserably. After all, his decline was too severe. How could he be mentioned in the same breath as Xiahou? Although he was an 8th grade great-grandmaster, he simply couldn't stop Xiahou, who wielded the heaven-severing sword. The Han family's ancestor howled in grief. In the end, his eyes flashed with flames of fury. It's an 8th grade Genesis brush. Grandpa Xiahou, be careful. Su Yan's expression changed greatly. He had caught a supreme fluctuation that could change the heavens and earth. He saw the Han family's old grandmaster bring out a Genesis brush. This was an 8th grade Genesis brush that was filled with the profound mysteries of the universe. Su Yan didn't expect the Han family's ancestor to possess an 8th grade Genesis brush. Moreover, this Genesis brush was now burning. This was a sign that the Genesis brush was about to self-destruct. This old fellow has gone crazy. Su Yan was shocked. The self-destruction of an 8th grade Genesis brush was equivalent to destroying a great Tao Saint weapon. Moreover, the value of an 8th grade Genesis brush was not inferior to a peak great Tao Saint weapon. Boom! The 8th grade Genesis brush burned fiercely, rippling with the light of destruction. Countless blood-colored heavenly scars interweaved on the brush shaft. What kind of secret technique is this? The expressions of the spectators in the outside world changed. They saw the vast world rumble. The shock waves spread far and wide, shaking the 4 seas and the universe. The disturbance was boundless. One by one, the large domains dimmed. Everyone saw the divine energy in the nearby large domains converging and penetrating into the 8th grade Genesis brush. This caused the 8th grade Genesis brush to become much more terrifying. This devouring power was too shocking. Su Yan felt his hair stand on end. He speculated that the Han family's old grandmaster was using a supreme secret technique of the strange gate. Roar, vaguely, a low roar exploded, as if the gates of the gods had been blasted open. A huge space-time tunnel appeared, as if it had crossed the past, present, and future. A supreme figure was born from it, and its aura was actually terrifying and overflowing. Strange Gate 9 Escape Techniques. A cold voice sounded, exploding in everyone's ears. At this moment, all the experts lost their composure. The legendary Strange Gate 9 Escape Techniques, a peerless secret technique that had been lost for a long time. It was also the supreme secret technique of the Strange Gate. Strange Gate 9 Escape Techniques. Su Yan's eyes turned red. He cried out involuntarily, "The Han family has mastered the Strange Gate 9 Escape Techniques." This was the strongest secret technique of the Strange Gate. 9 escape techniques that could summon the wind and rain. It was omnipotent. The Strange Gate 9 escape techniques only existed in legends. If all 9 secret techniques were found, their value would not be inferior to any of the 9 strongest divine abilities in history. Divine Shield. The Han family's old grandmaster roared hysterically. This was equivalent to a forbidden secret technique, and its power was unimaginably strong. Once the Divine Shield was used, it would shock the heavens and earth, as if a supreme god had been born. What a powerful secret technique! Even Xiahou was moved. He suddenly saw the king of all living things, majestic and vast, descending from the sky and suppressing everything. Once the Divine Shield was activated, it could penetrate any powerful life form in the world. When it struck, everyone felt that Xiahou was penetrated. A peerless secret technique that could threaten a supreme being, one of the Strange Gate 9 escape techniques, the Divine Shield. Roar. Xiahou let out a wild roar. If you were at your peak, I would have given you some leeway. Unfortunately, your Han family's destiny has come to an end, and your great rivers and mountains are almost destroyed. This secret technique of yours simply does not have the power of your peak." Xiahou went berserk. His head of gray hair danced wildly, and his entire body rippled. Billions of layers of terrifying light of order seemed to recreate the world, transforming the universe. Layers of supreme power contain the power to bury everything. Hidden world. Su Yan was shocked. This was the secret technique of the burial realm, the hidden world's secret technique. The world had changed. Covered in blood, a layer of energy that could bury the world gushed out from Xiaohou's body. For a time, it suppressed everything, buried the entire universe, and drowned all life in the universe. The divine shield technique evolved by the 8th grade Genesis brush was instantly suppressed by the power of the buried world. Moreover, the divine shield evolved by the Genesis brush seemed to have been exiled into the depths of the universe, into the space of the buried world. Yi Lingchen laughed loudly. Yi Lingtian laughed heartily. Xiahou had obtained this burial world secret technique from the strongest training ground in history. Now it was showing off its might here. What was a foundation? This was a foundation. It could threaten a supreme being and bury the foundation of a supreme being. Only then could it be called a peerless foundation. However, Xiahou's expression was a little serious. If their Han family had mastered more of the strange Gate 9 escape techniques, it would be hard to say whether they would live or die in this battle. If the rivers and mountains remained the same, the world's momentum intertwined, and the 8th grade Genesis brush self-destructed to form a divine shield, would Grandpa Xiahou be able to block it? Su Yan asked himself. The hidden world buried the world, and the divine shield gathered the power of the world. These were two extreme secret techniques. It allowed Su Yan to see how terrifying the strange Gate 9 escape techniques were. The main reason was that the world had declined, and the divine shield technique's power was not strong enough. Kill! The sound of killing was released, interrupting Su Yan's thoughts. He saw Xiahou once again evolve the power of the hidden world. It surged out and rushed directly towards the Han family's ancestor. No! The Han family's ancestor roared in grief. It was extremely difficult for him to resist. His aging body was covered, and it was difficult for him to resist. The spectators outside were silent. The Han family's ancestor was suppressed. The power of the hidden world was about to swallow the Han family's ancestor. A living fossil that lived in the last era of the universe was about to die. I can't accept this. The Han family's ancestor roared in anger. A pair of blood-red eyes looked at the Han family's ancestral land that was riddled with holes. The glory of the past had all turned to nothingness. The foundation that had been accumulated for millions of years had also collapsed. Ah! The Han family's ancestor let out a bitter roar. I won't forgive you when I become a ghost. Just you wait, I will come for you. Pung! Under the trembling eyes of the audience, the Han family's body exploded. He was self-destructing, forcibly breaking the seal of the hidden world's secret technique. The energy of the self-destruction of the Supreme Being tore open a terrifying space-time crack. Ancestor. The Han family's experts fell into despair. The ancestor's body had collapsed. Their spiritual support had also collapsed. The spectators outside sighed. The Han family was completely finished. The Supreme Being had fallen, and their foundation had been exhausted. All that was left was a ruined ancestral land. The glory of the past had completely collapsed at this moment. The clan's name had been completely removed from the chaos ruins. However, Xiahou frowned, and his expression was somewhat ugly. Yi Lingtian also frowned. The Han family's ancestor had self-destructed, and his primordial spirit had disappeared without a trace. Although the primordial spirit of a supreme being was nothing to worry about, it still made them uneasy. The last words of the Han family's ancestor had made their hearts pound. What other foundation did the Han family have? Or rather, did they have any reinforcements? But no matter what, the Han family was completely finished. Yi Lingtian's Supreme Being's heavenly punishment gathered once more. With the Supreme Being's heavenly punishment here, no one dared to approach this region of life. Then now, it was time to reap the harvest. Chapter 1082. Darkness once again shrouded the land. The vast universe's great Tao descended with the wrath of heaven's punishment, covering the vast territory. The mighty heavenly punishment was magnificent to the extreme. Billions of lightning bolts fell from the sky, drowning Yi Lingtian again and again. Anyone could see that not only was the giant not restrained by the heavenly punishment of the universe, but he was also getting stronger as he fought. Heaven's punishment has cut off the path. I can't see what's going on inside. The Han family is completely finished. It won't be long before this matter will shake the world. After all, it's an Overlord clan with a heritage of millions of years that has withered. The Buried Region clan is going to rise. I wonder if the Sealed Heaven region can sit still and watch Su Xianren rise again. The Sealed Heaven region can't do anything now. Heaven's punishment has cut off the path ahead. No one can get close to the Han family's ancestral land. Unless the Sealed Heaven region can pay the price of a generation of overlords to force open the path of heaven's punishment and attack the Han family. The spectators discussed animatedly. Some had ugly expressions, some were pleasantly surprised, some were full of respect, and some were full of emotions. The Buried Region clan had gone through too much. This could be considered a revival of the dead. There were also people who were watching seriously, watching the vast scene of Yi Lingtian's tribulation, wanting to gain experience. Now, there were already rumors circulating in the Chaos Ruins. In fact, since the fall of Zhu Tian and the others, the entire Chaos Ruins trembled. All the orthodoxies let out cries of surprise. Zhu Tian, the North Demon, the heaven-suppressing battle god, the heaven-sealing 10 heroes, how many people died? What tragic event happened in the reincarnation universe? Could it be that the rumors are true? Su Xianren ate the reincarnation fruit and became invincible? Unbelievable. It said that Yi Lingtian of the Buried Region clan stepped into the realm of overlords and triggered heaven's punishment. He ran directly to the Han family to undergo the tribulation. Oh my God! The vast Chaos Ruins shook violently. It was a sign that a storm was coming. The whole world was alarmed and thousands of sects were in an uproar. This was a terrifying event that made the young overlords of the various clans tremble in fear. Su Xianren, you're starting to shake the world. Many young overlords didn't know what to say. From the chaotic mountain, to the great Tao city, and then to the reincarnation universe, there were even rumors that the Han family was annihilated. One battle to shock the world. The outside world had been turned upside down. There were even rumors that 2 almighty experts had come out of the Sealed Heaven region with their supreme treasures. They were on their way to the Han family. The entire ancestral hall was enraged, and the clan's heaven-refining cauldron was revived from its slumber. An important piece of news came from the outerverse. An almighty from the ancestral hall had brought along the divine refining furnace, and he was about to make a trip to the Han family's ancestral land. The demon region was not calm either. That terrifying demon aura covered billions of miles. The demon region's mighty figures were furious. The North Demon's death was hard for many of them to accept. Some even felt that Tai Baokai could not be allowed to live. They could not allow the demon region to fall into the hands of Tai Baokai in the future. Under the fury of the 3 great orthodoxies, the universe was thrown into chaos. Gods and demons danced about chaotically. The atmosphere was terrifying to the extreme. The source of all of this was the Han family. News of the Han family's destruction had yet to spread, but the entire chaotic land's atmosphere was extremely stifling. Some people felt that a final battle was about to erupt, and it would definitely be a battle between almighty experts. If Su Yan is invincible, how can the Ancestral Hall and the other clans sit still? To the ancestral hall, Su Yan's rise was a cruel reality. If they could not suppress his growth, then the consequences would be unimaginable. They were worried that the buried realm would give birth to a second almighty expert. Although it was a taboo, the entire world knew about it. However, the taboo was suppressed by the universe and could not be revealed. The world was still a place where almighty experts ran amok. Although the buried realm had 3 almighty experts, could they withstand the crazy revenge of the other clans? Within the Han family's ancestral land, Su Yan and the others could not care too much. Clean up the battlefield. Luo Dali excitedly rubbed his hands. The clans that had been passed down for 1,000,000 years had a deep foundation. It was enough to make almighty experts envious. Within their ancestral land, there must be priceless immortal treasures, waiting for them to excavate. Especially this sea of life. More than half of it had been swallowed by the dragon totem, but the remaining life essence made Xiahou gasp in amazement. The value of this life essence was difficult to estimate. For a clan, it could temporarily increase their strength. Boom! Xiahou's methods were superb. He had created a space of order that encompassed heaven and earth. It could be said that it was a moving space, and he used his magic power to collect a huge amount of life essence. However, with Xiahou's methods, the space he created could only take away 20 to 30% of the remaining life essence. This made Xiahou's expression change. How did Su Yan do it? How could he swallow the energy accumulated by the Han family over 1,000,000 years? Even a supreme expert would not be able to swallow it all in a short period of time. He did not have the time to ask these questions. He was constantly opening up space and time to take away all of the life essence. Once this sea of life was moved to Earth, he would use his magic power to refine it into a pool of life. It would inevitably become a holy land for the progenitor to break through. Even if the Divine King were to cultivate here, he would be able to squander it freely. The dragon totem has completely taken shape, right? Su Yan secretly said in his heart. The dragon totem on his arm emitted a thick fluctuation of time. A golden dragon totem covered half of his arm, emitting a matchless dragon might. A golden dragon could be clearly seen. It was vivid and lifelike. If one looked closely, they would be able to clearly see the true dragon's unparalleled heavenly might. Its figure was so vast that it was difficult to measure. It was a type of dragon's reverse scale that would cause certain death if one were to touch it. This dragon totem was really like a living creature. It lay on Su Yan's arm, emitting a prehistoric pressure that shook Su Yan's soul. He wondered if the dragon totem could be revived one day. The dragon totem had a great origin. The awakening of the progenitor was related to the dragon totem. Rumble! In the depths of the Han family's ancestral land, a series of loud explosions were heard one after another, reaching Su Yan's ears. He turned his head and looked into the distance. His heart trembled violently, and he immediately rushed over. Nothing was more important than this matter now. We're rich! Yuan lost control and shouted. His eyes were trembling with excitement. Am I dreaming? Dali patted his face and said in a daze, Big brother, look, we're rich! The scene in front of them was too spectacular. Rows and rows of treasure vaults were opened. One after another, giant treasure vaults were filled with auspicious light. They rippled and shone upon the blood-stained territory. Everything was sacred to the extreme. In the treasure vaults, all kinds of divine weapons were laid out. They shone brightly, and there were all kinds of weapons. Many of them emitted powerful energy waves. They could unleash a shocking attack at any time. There were also treasure vaults with piles of elixirs. Dozens of treasure vaults added together definitely contained no less than 1,000,000 elixirs. F***ck were not just rich. Tensor sucked in a breath of cold air. Millions of elixirs could not be bought with money. They belonged to the Han family's strategic resources. This time, Yi Lingtian was also domineering. He charged into the Han family while bearing the universe's heavenly punishment, catching the entire Han family off guard. They did not even have time to breathe, so how could they have the time to use up these elixirs? They did not even have the time to destroy these treasure vaults. Now, Su Yen and the others had benefited. In some of the treasure vaults, the number of chaos ores was extremely difficult to count. There were all kinds of rare chaos ores. What did the Han family do for a living? However, they were the ancestors of the mystical gate lineage. They had too many rare chaos ores in their hands. Su Yen gulped. This was an immeasurable amount of wealth. Hundreds of treasure vaults were filled to the brim with all kinds of rare treasures. Piled together, it was enough to form a huge mountain of treasures. Tai Baokai suddenly ran over. He glared at the hundreds of treasure vaults, then at Luo De Li and the others. He curled his lips and said, "How useless!" Tensor and the others' faces darkened. At the same time, they felt that something was amiss. How could Tai Baokai, who was so greedy, remain unmoved? "You've already snuck into the treasure vaults. How many good things have you dug up?" Su Yen strode over. He wanted to hang Baokai up and interrogate him. "Kid, what's with that look?" Baotsai's face darkened. "Motherf asterisk cur. We were in a bloody battle just now, and you went to dig for treasures." Tensor snapped out of his daze. Tai Baokai grinned and said confidently, "I lost too much of my energy earlier and felt weak all over. I thought that I wouldn't be of much help, so I went in to take a stroll to save you all the trouble." Su Yen and the others were helpless. This guy had indeed lost a lot of money, but he was energized after picking up treasures. He was not afraid of being beaten up by the Han family's elders guarding the treasure vaults. "Did you run into some tough nut to crack?" Su Yen asked. If Tai Baokai had nothing better to do, he would not have run over now. He must have run into some difficult problem. Hearing this, Tai Baokai hurriedly said, "I found an underground treasure vault. However, the vault's defense is extremely shocking. There is no way to forcefully open it. Otherwise, all the good things inside will be destroyed." Su Yan's eyes lit up. The Han family was a super clan with a heritage of millions of years. They would definitely have a lot of valuable resources. These resources would definitely be closely guarded. If they could not be opened with the correct method, no one would be able to obtain the things inside the vault. Let's go. Tai Baokai urged. At their level of cultivation, these kinds of resources were what they urgently wanted. Su Yen was naturally anxious as well. He wanted the inheritance of the Han family's Qi Men lineage. In fact, Su Yen wanted to obtain the Qi Men 9 escape techniques that the Han family's ancestors had used. "You guys stay here and clean up the battlefield. I'll go take a look first." Su Yen followed Tai Baokai all the way. Along the way, Su Yan's face darkened and he did not know what to say. The whole world was in a mess. Many hidden underground treasure vaults had been dug out by Tai Baokai. Along the way, he had found at least 500 treasure vaults. "How many good things did you take?" Su Yen was shocked. Could it be that the Han family had thousands of secret treasure vaults? It's all small money. It can't be compared to the big guy. I spent a long time to find them. Tai Baotsai's reply made Su Yen want to pick it up and give it a good beating. Small money? Hundreds of treasure vaults had been cleaned out by him, and not even a strand of hair was left behind. How could this be considered a small amount of money? Su Yen looked at the rich Tai Baokai with a malicious gaze. The Tai Baokai shivered under Su Yan's gaze and left without looking back. Soon, Tai Baokai brought Su Yen to their destination. The soil within a 1-mile radius had been dug up by Tai Baokai. Su Yen looked as if he was looking at an abyss. To be more precise, it was as if he was looking at an underground starry sky world. Su Yen sucked in a breath of cold air. This is the treasure land that the Han family's ancestors used their blood, sweat, and tears to create by cutting off the starry sky outside the realm. Tai Baokai was dumbfounded. What kind of domineering method was this? Cutting off the starry sky and throwing it into the Han family's ancestral land to create a secret treasure vault. This method was truly frightening. Don't forget, this was just a secret treasure vault. This condensed starry sky was filled with waves of galactic airflow. Moreover, the domain operated on its own. In the ancient starry sky underground, the galactic airflow was arranged in a crisscrossing pattern. The scene was beautiful and majestic. It was as if 9 galactic dragons were lying in the middle of the ancient galactic airflow. They intertwined with each other, forming a pattern of 9 dragons locking the sky. Su Yan's heart thumped. Just the 9 ancient galactic airflow was already a rare treasure. It was equivalent to 9 guards guarding the door of the treasure vault. Chapter 1083. Su Yan's eyes were bright, and his golden pupils looked at the ancient starry sky underground. A long time ago, a powerful expert from the Han family had changed the world, cut off a part of the starry sky, and smelted it into a special field pattern. This was definitely the work of a grade 8 great grandmaster. After all, it was the family's secret treasure house, and it was built with special means. Breaking it was more difficult than opening the sea of life. Kid, can you do it? Tai Baokai stretched out its furry paw and wiped the saliva from the corner of its mouth. It had thrown it out from the ground with great difficulty. Baokai guessed that it should be the strongest secret treasure house of the Han family. It must be the place where the most precious secret treasures of the Han family were placed for millions of years. What kind of power was the Han family? They were the ancestors of the strange doors, and they were once glorious. The family's secret treasure house was well preserved, so the things inside must be extraordinary. Su Yan was also envious. He said, "You guessed right. If this secret treasure house is opened by force, the ancient starry sky will collapse directly, and the good things inside will be destroyed." Motherf *Ker, the Han family is really cautious. Tai Baokai said with a dark face, "It's on their own territory and the seal is so intact. I think even if we break it by force there are a lot of precious things inside. I'm afraid it's very difficult to destroy them." Hearing this, Su Yan shook his head and said, "That's not necessarily true. The means of a grade 8 great grandmaster can't be underestimated. Maybe they can really open it by force. At that time, the transmission array inside the ancient starry sky will be activated, and all the treasures inside will be sent away and thrown into the universe. Where are you going to find them?" Tai Baotsai's face fell, and he urged, "Think of a way to break the array." Su Yan kept opening his universal eyes to observe. His golden pupils were shining all the time, and a strong insight emerged. It gathered in the ancient starry sky, and the operation track of the whole array pattern was constantly engraved in the sea of knowledge. First of all, this condensed ancient starry sky was extremely grand. As for the 9 star rivers, they were the power of the 9 star rivers that had been refined by a supreme elder of the Han family in ancient times. Just the power of the 9 star rivers alone was already extremely valuable. Moreover, the 9-fold star river's aura was ever-changing. Sometimes it was like a heavenly sword, sometimes it was like a great halberd, sometimes it was like a qilin, sometimes it was like a huge dragon. Su Yan's expression turned solemn. The difficulty of breaking through him had increased greatly. There were treasures smelted in the ancient starry skies, and he guessed that this treasury was very important. Otherwise, the Han family would not have been willing to use the power of the 9 celestial rivers when the Han family was on the brink of annihilation. After all, once the Han family was defeated, the treasury would be taken by Su Yan and the others. "Give me some time." Su Yan sat cross-legged in the void. His primordial spirit glowed, and his eye of the universe was activated to the maximum as he continued to explore the ancient starry sky. As for the outside world of the Han family, it was a complete mess. More and more experts had gathered, and even a large number of peak experts had arrived. There were also experts from other clans who were itching to make trouble. If the Han family is truly annihilated, their treasury. Someone's eyes turned red, and these words caused the surrounding people's eyes to turn red. These words were not wrong. Some old freak's eyes turned purple as they roared. I can vaguely sense that within the heavenly punishment there are treasure lights shooting into the heavens. It's as if millions of treasures are slowly rising. Some people wanted to vomit blood. He spoke as if he had seen it with his own eyes. Some experts shook their heads. This old freak was bewitching them. The heavenly punishment had already reached this point, and it was impossible for him to see the scene inside. Although they wanted to kill their way in and seize the Han family's treasury, the heavenly punishment was blocking the way. Even if a group of supreme elders came, they would not dare to take the risk. Once they did, the heavenly punishment's power would increase exponentially. If the Han family's treasury, which has been accumulated for millions of years, is obtained by Su Yan's group, the Buried Realm clan will make a fortune. Some experts from the Great Sect's side. At the same time, they also felt that this was what they deserved. After all, they had almost allowed the Han family to make a comeback. If the Sea of Life really erupted, the Han family's several ancestral seals would be revived. Even if a supreme elder came, they might not be able to attack the Han family. Even if they succeeded, they would have to pay a bloody price. At this moment, Xiahou had already collected all the remaining energy from the Sea of Life. His eyes were fixed on Yuan and the others who were plundering the treasury. He could not help but feel excited. Currently, the Buried Realm clan was indeed lacking in resources. With the Han family's supplies, he believed that the Buried Realm clan would undergo great changes in the next few decades. The three Supreme Elders were only the beginning. In the future, there would inevitably be other experts who would break through to the Supreme Elder realm. After all, the cosmic source liquid was a rare supreme treasure. According to the old chief's examination, this cosmic source liquid originated from an extremely ancient era and contained a flawless energy of the universe's laws. What kind of concept was this? With the current conditions of the universe, it was impossible to breed such a thing. At the same time, the old chief suspected that the place where Baokai was born, the dead universe, might be a paradise created by a terrifying prehistoric giant. According to this inference, Tai Baotsai's origin was astonishing. The 49 dragon pillars should be a protective array that protected the dead universe. Could it really be related to a supreme elder of the demon realm? Have you encountered a problem? Xiahou walked over and saw the starry sky. His expression was slightly dignified. Even with his supreme strength, it was difficult for him to see through this complex array. Su Yan nodded. This gave Xiahou a headache. He pondered for a moment and said, "Let's hurry up and attack the Han family. When some outside forces learn about this, they will definitely come to fish in troubled waters. We don't have much time left." Su Yan was naturally aware of this. He suppressed the anxiety in his heart and whispered, "I need some things to refine the array. How high the success rate of opening this treasure vault is? In fact, it depends on our luck. This is a treasure vault made by an 8th grade great grandmaster. I'm not very confident." Although Su Yan was not proficient in the heavenly momentum chapter, with his identity as a grandmaster of the occult arts, he was still certain that he could open this treasure vault. He listed hundreds of materials related to the starry sky. These things were not difficult to find, and Baokai took them out in one breath. This made Xiahou smile and say, "Baokai, how many good things did you take out? Let me see." Tai Baokai said with a fierce face, "What do you want? I dug this out with great difficulty. In the future, I still have to prepare for the revitalization of the demon realm." Xiahou did not know whether to laugh or cry. This was not the supreme elder of the demon realm, but he already wanted to rule the demon realm. "You can forget about it." Su Yan scolded with a smile. If it weren't for Grandpa Xiahou and the others, the Han family would have been defeated. "Dream on." I didn't say that I wouldn't give it to you. Let's talk about it after we leave the Han family. Tai Baokai gritted his teeth. Naturally, he knew that they had contributed the most. At this moment, Su Yan's expression was solemn. He took out the Great Path Origin brush. The 7th grade Origin brush shone brightly. This golden Origin brush, densely covered with Great Path heavenly marks, resonated with the power of heaven and earth. As it was engraved, heaven and earth trembled. The occult arts can change heaven and earth. Su Yan is now a 7th grade Great Grandmaster, which is enough to trigger the momentum of heaven and earth. He can set up an array to trigger the momentum of heaven and earth. Now that he has set up an array, does he want to break it? Xiahou frowned. The array here should have been set up by an 8th grade Great Grandmaster. Could it be that Su Yan was still confident that he could break it with an array? Hold on. Xiahou didn't say much. Instead, he transmitted his voice to Yi Lingtian, asking him to stall for time as much as possible. In the land of the ancient starry sky, the heavenly wind was mighty, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Su Yan caused a great commotion. He inscribed array runes with the origin brush, causing the momentum of heaven and earth to descend and gather in various starry sky materials. Hundreds of starry sky materials were like stars. In the process, Su Yan triggered the earth fire to calcine them. In order to speed up time, he asked Xiahou to coordinate the calcination with the power of a great grandmaster. These hundreds of starry sky materials quickly melted and merged into one. In the process, Su Yan continued to inscribe complex array runes, triggering the power of the stars in outer space and penetrating the melted starry sky liquid. Are you done? A ghostly cry came. Yi Lingtian's flesh was torn open by the cosmic heavenly punishment. He looked so miserable that he couldn't bear it anymore. After all, he had been suppressing his divine power to prevent the cosmic heavenly punishment from ending so quickly. The people watching from the outside were also impatient. What was going on? It had been almost an entire day, but the cosmic heavenly punishment was still going on. Hold on a little longer. You're so tough. What are you afraid of? Xiahou transmitted his voice. This is a heavenly punishment. I'm about to be roasted. Yi Lingtian almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The giant's body glowed as he withstood the heavenly punishment lightning that rolled down from the universe. His hair stood on end as he was badly battered. Black smoke rose from his body. Is there really meat fragrance? Tai Baotsai's honest fat face trembled. He stood up abruptly and looked at Yi Lingtian, who was bathed in lightning with his panda eyes. His legs were restless as he wondered if the meat of a great grandmaster was delicious. Soon! Su Yan roared fiercely. The 7th grade origin brush erupted to the extreme and drew in the vast starry sky essence. He shouted, "Star array form!" The starry sky liquid covered in complex runes glowed. After bathing in the power of the starry sky, the liquid rolled into a ball and turned into a bright star in an instant. It hung in the void and rotated as if it could roll down and smash a divine king to death. Success or failure depends on this. Su Yan's big hand slapped on the evolved star. It was as if he was plucking the stars and catching the moon. The star rapidly flew down and smashed into the ancient starry sky. Xiahou was a little nervous as he watched this scene. The star smashed into the ancient starry sky and instantly bombarded the central area of the 9 dragons locking heaven pattern. From this moment on, the power of the 9 galaxies overflowed into the sky like 9 starry sky dragons. The domain that originally locked the ancient starry sky now locked the star. The star trembled violently as if it was about to collapse. The 9 galaxies were extremely terrifying. Their aura was changeable like dragons and swords. It made the star engraved by Su Yan tremble as if it couldn't withstand it and was about to collapse. Good treasure, suitable for my 9th arch great Tao. Tai Baokai howled excitedly. Stop talking. Su Yan urged, We don't have more than half an incense stick's time. Quickly go in and take away the treasures in the ancient starry sky. Quickly! Su Yen replaced the star and temporarily made the 9 dragons locking heaven pattern lose its effect. However, he knew that the star wouldn't last long and would collapse. At that time, the pattern would lock the domain again. Xiahou and the others rushed to the center and escaped into the ancient starry sky. When they arrived at the interior, they were all shocked. This was really a big deal. The ancient starry sky world was lined up with stars. On each star, there were all kinds of treasures piled up. Baokai was drooling and couldn't move. The treasures piled up here were indeed of extremely high quality. There were even some star palaces emitting divine light and the sound of the great Tao. There must be a large number of scriptures piled up here. And what surprised Su Yen the most was that the core area of the ancient starry sky seemed to have a silver iron tree rooted there. The silver iron tree was densely covered with bronze veins. It was steaming with the light of the starry sky and emitting a vast and majestic fluctuation of the great Tao of the starry sky. On the iron tree, there were golden fruits that looked like huge golden stars hanging there. Divine medicine! Xiahou laughed. This is a divine medicine, the legendary starry sky tree. It blossoms every 10,000 years. 10,000 years to bear fruit and 10,000 years to mature. Chapter 1084. Su Yen was ecstatic. He didn't expect to dig out a divine medicine. This must be the Han family's shocking heritage. Unfortunately, the Han family didn't have the time to use this divine medicine when they were at the brink of destruction. After all, with the Han family's old ancestors' lifespan, even a divine medicine wouldn't have much effect on him, unless he could swallow the entire divine medicine. This starry sky tree had 6 fruits and 3 seeds. It was obvious that the Han family had used 3 fruits in these tens of thousands of years. This starry sky tree could give birth to a total of 9 fruit. Don't waste time, hurry up and collect the treasures. Su Yan's mind quickly calmed down. He seized the time to collect the treasures in the starry sky. The items here were all treasures among treasures. Of course, Xiahou didn't care about these things the most, but the various ancient books in the starry hall. For a power like the Han family, they must have collected a large number of prehistoric ancient halls. It wasn't easy to collect the treasures. Fortunately, Xiahou was here. He used his almighty methods to break the seals of the halls one by one and swept away all the treasures inside. It was like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. They used a few dozen breaths to sweep away a large number of treasures. Grandpa Xiahou, come here quickly. Su Yen went all the way and saw a golden starry hall. This hall looked majestic and was filled with a supreme aura. This should be the cultivation hall of an almighty. This is a prehistoric treasure. I don't know where the Han family got it from. Xiahou's figure disappeared and appeared here. He looked at the golden starry hall and said, "This starry hall has great value. Let me open it and try not to destroy the divine treasures inside." Buzz! Xiahou's big hand reached out like a dragon's claw and instantly bombarded the door. At the same time, the starry hall erupted with a terrifying astral energy. It transmitted the voice of the great Tao as if a almighty was preaching the Tao. Xiahou's hand was shaken away. He was pleasantly surprised. This item is amazing. It seems to have been left behind by a supreme almighty. Peerless almighty. Su Yan's face turned pale. This was too frightening. He didn't expect the Han family to have such a treasure. However, this starry sky path had nothing to do with the Han family. But to Hokuto, it held great significance. Open! Xiahou's aura skyrocketed, his palm enlarged, filled with powerful energy. In an instant, he struck out, causing the stellar hall to tremble violently. He forcefully blasted open the door and used his supreme energy to suppress the stellar hall, preventing the stellar hall from leaking its divine power essence. The Han family was definitely aware of the value of the Star Palace, which was why it was left here. No one had used it for a long time. The Han family's ancestors were also looking forward to the birth of a talented clansman who could break through the starry sky path. Unfortunately, the Han family hadn't been able to wait until now. Now, Su Yan and the others had benefited from it. The world inside the Star Palace was extremely magnificent. The palace was filled with a majestic atmosphere, as if an ancient almighty was entrenched in it, staring at them. There seems to be a living aura in here. Su Yan's expression changed, but he couldn't find any clues. There's an orthodoxy hidden inside. Xiahou muttered to himself for a while and said in astonishment, its value isn't inferior to divine medicines. If used properly, it's even more astonishing than divine medicines. I didn't expect the Han family to have such a good thing. Now we've benefited from it. Su Yan naturally knew what Xiahou was worth. There was an absolute almighty orthodoxy hidden inside. What's this? Su Yan walked forward in large strides. At the end of the magnificent palace hall, there were 3 items placed there. The first item caused Su Yan's heart to beat faster. It was a jet-black stone material about the size of a palm. It was smooth and round with some golden spots in it. It emitted a prehistoric aura. Su Yan stretched out his hand to grab it. However, the moment he touched the black stone material, his entire body trembled violently. It was as if he had grabbed onto a ferocious beast. The black stone material emitted a terrifying aura that threatened to shatter Su Yan's hand. Boom! Su Yan's aura surged as he revived the human-shaped puppet. Even so, the black stone emitted an ominous aura and terrifying energy that caused Su Yan's palm to go numb. Su Yan was astonished, and Xiahou was even more shocked. He said in astonishment, "This is a Kuan Pring stone." Kuan Pring stone? Su Yan was astonished. The Kuan Pring is a supreme being with boundless magic power and remarkable abilities. An adult Kuan Pring is an almighty expert. Xiahou's expression kept changing. He said, "This stone material should have been born in the Kuan Peng's nest. It's been contaminated with the Kuan Peng's aura and his blood essence for a long time. After a long period of precipitation, it became a Kuan Peng stone. Its value is definitely not inferior to a supreme treasure material." Hiss! Su Yan took a deep breath. The value was outrageous. He had unexpectedly obtained a supreme treasure material. This was a treasure that even almighty experts would covet. You should consider forging a life weapon that belongs to you. It will accompany you as you grow in the future. Xiahou's words made Su Yan envious. He had thought about it before, but he didn't have any outstanding materials. Now that he had encountered this extremely domineering Kuan Pring stone, it could fulfill Su Yan's wish. Once the Kuan Pring stone was formed, it would definitely be the rough embryo of a supreme treasure. Its value was immeasurable. Su Yan held the Kuan Pring stone in his hand and sealed it. His gaze landed on the second treasure. It was an ancient beast skin map that was filled with an ancient aura. On the beast skin map, chaos pervaded. There were densely packed order symbols. This beast skin map was carved by an almighty expert. It didn't look like some kind of divine ability. Xiahou picked up the beast skin map and looked at it for a while. He was moved and said, "This seems to be a treasure map?" Treasure map? Su Yan's eyes lit up. Could this Han family have other treasure maps? I'll go back and decipher it. It's probably something extraordinary. Since it can be placed together with the Kuan Peng stone, could it be a prehistoric divine ability? Xiahou didn't have the time to study it. The words carved by almighty experts were not something that could be understood with just a few glances. When Su Yan saw the third treasure, he was completely silent. It was as if he was looking at an ancestral treasure. He was looking at the first generation's ancestor preaching the Tao. The golden page of the heavenly book was like a wordless heavenly book. There were no words on it. This made Xiahou a little confused. There was a Kuan Peng stone here, so the other two items placed here by the Han family were definitely not ordinary. But what kind of treasure was this wordless heavenly book? When he noticed that Su Yen was silent, he was moved and interrupted Su Yen. Now wasn't the time to comprehend it. I didn't expect to encounter such an opportunity. It's just a pity that I couldn't obtain the rest of the Heavenly Power chapter's inheritance. Su Yen took a deep breath and put it away. He put away the wordless heavenly book. If he didn't guess too much, this thing should be the Mystic Nine escape technique. It was the legendary supreme secret technique of the Mystic Gate. The divine shield that the Han clan's old ancestor had created might have been obtained from the wordless heavenly book. Boom! Just as Xiahou and the others stepped out of the Star Palace, the entire ancient starry sky world became a little unstable. It seemed like it was about to collapse. "Oh no, let's go." Su Yan's expression changed slightly. He said, "Once the star formation that I refined is broken, the star world is likely to collapse directly. The backup left by an 8th grade great grandmaster can't be underestimated." "Yes, let's go now. We can't capsize in the gutter." Xiahou nodded and waved his sleeve. He moved the Star Palace away. At the same time, he stretched out his big hand and grabbed the Tai Baokai that was frantically plundering the treasures. There are still some things that haven't been taken away. The Tai Baokai was extremely anxious. It stomped its 4 hooves and shouted for Su Yen to stabilize the situation for a while. Su Yen could not help but laugh. What was left was not particularly important. Moreover, he had wasted enough time. He had to leave the Han family now. Most importantly, their harvest was enough. They had obtained a huge amount of wealth that would make the Peak tribes jealous. As for the outside world, Yi Lingtian had been struck beyond recognition. His body was charred black and his flesh was cooked. This made some of the half-step mighty figures who were watching the ceremony shudder. This was 2F** King Cruel. Even someone as strong as Yi Lingtian had been tortured to such a state. Was the cosmic heavenly punishment really so frightening that it made many half-step mighty figures who were ready to give it their all shudder? They felt that if they tried to transcend the tribulation with their own potential, they would most likely die. Yi Lingtian did not expect that his delaying of the cosmic heavenly punishment would make a few mighty figures who were ready to break through fearful swish, swish. At that moment, Xiahou and the other 2 flew out of the ancient starry sky. As soon as they left the starry sky world, the constellation that Su Yen had refined exploded. Although the 9 dragons locking heaven pattern was formed once again, but this ancient starry sky world trembled violently, showing signs of collapsing into pieces. "Quick, Grandpa Xiahou, do something!" The Tai Baokai jumped up and looked at the 9 galaxies with bloodshot eyes. Once the starry sky world collapsed, the 9 galaxies would disappear without a trace. Before the Baokai could speak, Xiahou had already made his move. He was a mighty figure expert, and his means were all-encompassing. His outstretched hand was suffused with the light of order. In an instant, he suppressed the ancient starry sky that was on the verge of collapse. As for the treasures that looked like starry sky dragons, they were stripped out of the starry sky world one by one under Xiahou's suppression. The 9 galaxies were like 9 huge dragons that were pulled out by Xiahou with brute force. Just as he was done, the ancient starry sky world exploded. The source of destruction was born from within, and a large portion of the Han family's territory was destroyed. "Looks like it's over. I'm going to break through," Yi Lingtian roared. His roasted body was about to awaken and complete the final breakthrough. "Wait a little longer," Su Yen roared. Holding the great Tao origin brush in his hand, his body was close to the ground. Everywhere he passed, the incomplete runes inscribed on the ground began to awaken. Buzz! The great Tao origin brush glowed, and the strokes were like thunder. Su Yen seemed to be reenacting the universe. Every stroke was filled with the power to split the heavens and earth. "What are you trying to do, you little brat?" Yi Lingtian's face collapsed completely. His pores were spewing out bone fragments. He had withstood billions of thunderbolts, and his body had suffered a devastating blow. The spectators were shocked. They really felt that Yi Lingtian couldn't withstand it and was about to die under the heavenly punishment. The experts doubted their lives. Was the heavenly punishment so ridiculous that even someone as powerful as Yi Lingtian couldn't survive it? I'll leave them with a big gift. Su Yan's movements were swift and violent. He was like a dragon dancing between heaven and earth. With the great Tao origin brush, he connected the broken Han family's ancestral land. His eyes were filled with madness, and the dilapidated Han family's ancestral land was about to be restored to its former glory. Good, good, good. Xiahou laughed heartily. Su Yan's attainments in the strange gate had really reached a higher level. Now that he was reenacting the layout of the Han family's ancestral land, it was enough for the enemies who were spying on him from all directions to leave behind a generous gift. Chapter 1085. I'm afraid he can't take it anymore and will die under the heavenly punishment. Isn't that too unlucky? The cosmic heavenly punishment is really tyrannical. In the realm of half-step almighties, if one can't accumulate a supreme foundation, breaking through is simply courting death. Defying the heavens. It's not that easy. The experts discussed animatedly. They saw Yi Lingtian being struck by lightning under the heavenly punishment. He was so miserable that it made them shudder with fear. They did not expect the cosmic heavenly punishment to be so perverse. At this time, the experts from the Fengtian domain had already gathered here. They looked at Yi Lingtian with sinister eyes. Their hearts were filled with murderous intent, and they were about to charge in uncontrollably. This time they came fully prepared. Even if a supreme almighty came, they were confident that they could resist. After all, the ancestral hall had brought the heavenly refining cauldron, and the Fengtian domain had brought the Fengtian diagram. With two supreme treasures guarding them, they could completely annihilate the almighty experts. Another half a day passed. The experts from the ancestral hall were really impatient. Why was Yi Lingtian still not dead? He had been holding on for so long. He was so miserable under the heavenly punishment that his life force had declined to the extreme. I can't take it anymore. Yi Lingtian suddenly let out a low roar. His body that was about to fall apart burned, and layers of divine power that he had suppressed surged within him. In an instant, he blocked the attack of the cosmic heavenly punishment. I'm going to break through. Yi Lingtian roared angrily. His battered body glowed, and with every breath he took, the amount of divine power he exhaled was insane. It made the vast ancestral land of the Han family somewhat gloomy. Only God knew how much divine power had been extracted and gathered into Yi Lingtian's battered body. Yi Lingtian was gathering his supreme foundation to open the door to a breakthrough. Are you stupid? Here. Xiahou blew his beard and glared. He was really worried that Yi Lingtian would suffer a huge loss and not be able to survive the most important moment. Although the Han family's sacred land was full of worldly essence, the resurrection of the Han family's ancestor had caused great damage to the environment. But now, Xiahou had opened the Han clan's forbidden primal chaos zone and took away an ancient stone temple. This was a treasure born from the heaven and earth, so Xiahou naturally wouldn't forget about it. The end of the chaos zone that had lost the stone hall's suppression surged out at lightning speed. Chaos tides that surged like a sea rapidly surged up along with chaos heavenly essence. There was a small chaos dragon vein below, and it surged with vigorous chaos origin. This was definitely a great supplement. No one would be so extravagant as to use a chaos dragon vein to replenish the energy needed for a mighty figure to break through. However, they could not take this chaos dragon vein away, so they could only let Yi Lingtian break through. My brain is about to be smashed into paste by the heavenly punishment. I didn't expect the Han family to have such a strong foundation. Such a great tonic, it's really a bargain for me. Yi Lingtian let out a long laugh. Like a giant beast opening its bloody mouth, He madly devoured the dragon vein released from the chaotic zone. As he inhaled and exhaled, a huge amount of chaotic energy penetrated his broken body. Boom! It was as if he had swallowed an entire universe sea, allowing his declining body to stand at its peak in an instant. "Mighty figure, I'm coming!" Yilingtian roared. His eyes revealed a fierce glint, accompanied by a kind of desire, excitement, and desire. At this moment, he looked back on his life. Countless bloody storms and thousands of years of bloody battles, he had survived. He was even the only young man standing at the Divine King's realm. As for Su Dalong and the others, they were already old. They had cultivated for eons, and Yilingtian was their junior. The older generation said that Yilingtian was a lucky one, a young warrior of their tribe. In the past, he had witnessed countless of his relatives, old brothers, and descendants die tragically under the butcher's knife of the enemy. Back then, he was helpless, miserable, crying, and screaming, but he could not change anything. He could only escape under the protection of Su Dalong and the others. In the past, they yearned to stand at the mighty figure realm and resist powerful enemies. Now Yilingtian had done it. He had crossed over to the mighty figure realm and emitted a terrifying, ferocious glint. "The day I step into the mighty figure realm will be the day I slaughter all the enemies in the world. You will pay with your blood," Yilingtian roared. His eyes were so red that tears of blood were about to flow out. This was his fighting spirit, his belief, his goal to break through, his path of revenge, and his unwavering belief. Yilingtian's aura was monstrous, and in an instant, the heavenly punishment of the universe was shattered into pieces. A terrifying giant rose from the ground, and Xiaoho believed that Yilingtian, who had received such powerful nourishment, would be able to break through several small realms in the realm of mighty figures. Attack, kill him! Just as the universe's heavenly punishment exploded, in all directions, the various powerhouses floating in the void completely lost control. In the ruined territory, at least 100 terrorist leaders secretly attacked, wanting to be the first to kill Yilingtian. For a moment, the bloody light covered the earth. Layers of divine power surged, shaking heaven and earth and shaking the four seas. Millions of miles of territory rumbled, causing the spectators gathered here to tremble. It was as if they had seen the end of the universe. This was a destructive attack unleashed by over 100 terrorist leaders who had gone crazy. People felt that the Han family's ancestral land had exploded and ceased to exist. All the living beings within had been destroyed. Have they gone mad? The Divine King let out a terrified voice. Over 100 terrorist leaders attacked with unparalleled divine power. It was as if the Milky Way had descended from the 9 heavens, drowning the entire Han family's ancestral land. The Battle of the Apocalypse. Someone said because in this short period of time, they saw Yilingtian and Xiaoho revive in a short period of time. They unleashed their full strength and unleashed their most invincible combat power, sweeping across all directions. Kill! The two powerhouses joined forces and let out a loud roar. They attacked together in one direction, causing the sky to collapse. More than a dozen powerhouses died tragically in an instant. One had to know that none of the powerhouses attacking were the Divine King. They were all half-step and almighty powerhouses. However, Yilingtian and Xiaoho had slaughtered more than a dozen old antiques in their frenzy. Some of the almighties were even terrified. Yilingtian had just broken through, so how could his aura be so powerful? Kill! The scene of a river of blood caused all the powerhouses to go crazy. All of them locked onto Xiaoho and Yilingtian and unleashed their most powerful combat power. They wanted to sacrifice the two almighty powerhouses in a single exchange. However, all of this came crashing down in an overwhelming manner. It was as if the entire Han family's ancestral land was going to explode. Open for me! A loud roar exploded. A figure walked out of the void, holding a 7th-grade source brush. He could change heaven and earth, summon the wind and rain, and pluck the stars and capture the moon. Su Yen seemed to be able to move the universe. He was also like a peerless divine king. Terrifying boundless energy began to revive with Su Yen. Rumble! The entire Han family's ancestral land shook violently. The broken patterns began to reform. One by one, the Han family's ancestral marks were revived. They were like rays of light that could burn the world. They surged out and extinguished the stars in the universe. No! Shrill screams echoed in the Han family's ancestral land. Their eyes were filled with fear. The strongest pattern in the Han family's ancestral land began to rotate again. It was like a millstone that could destroy the world. This was an act of mutual destruction. The entire Han family's ancestral land began to collapse layer by layer. The aura of destruction swept across the entire region. A large number of old antiques died before they could even reach it. Their bodies were torn apart. Oh my God, Su Xianren has destroyed a large region. Is he trying to destroy the enemy with mutual destruction? The Han family's ancestral land has completely collapsed. The divine energy has turned into killing intent, reviving more than a dozen Han family's ancestral spirits. What a joke! He's leading the enemy into battle. The onlookers trembled. In their eyes, a large region of life had collapsed. This kind of world-destroying pattern caused smoke and dust to surge like a sea. It covered more than a dozen large regions in the vicinity. A large region has collapsed. The horrifying scene shook the hearts of the onlookers. The destination was the Han family's ancestral land. The sacred land that had been passed down for millions of years had actually collapsed. Countless people screamed madly. Over 100 terrifying leaders had charged in before. Now that the pattern had collapsed and even the large region had been destroyed, how many of them could survive? Su Xianren is even more ruthless than the legends say. The great figures were incomparably shaken. They felt a kind of fear toward a heavenly deity. Most importantly, Su Yen had ignited the energy of the small chaotic dragon vein. The vast region filled with smoke and dust gave birth to a terrifying primal chaos crack. Miserable howls rang out incessantly. There were definitely many experts who had reached the heavens who had suffered a tragic blow. Su Yen, you bastard! You'll die a horrible death. There were also some experts from the Ancestral Hall who were responsible for sealing the sky and the land and guarding the space and time around. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? How could it be like this? The destructive power of the Han family's large region had even caused the space and time they sealed to collapse. One could imagine how powerful the destructive power was at the source. There were also some people who thought that Su Yen was destroying everything with the enemy. But no one knew that Su Yen had discovered a secret space-time formation in the Han family's ancestral land. It was forged by an 8th-grade great-grandmaster and could completely travel through space and time to the Han family without anyone noticing. In short, this battle was a fruitful one. Only 2 days had passed, and the news had already spread throughout the Chaos Ruins. Thousands of races were in an uproar. The successive major events shook people's hearts, each more terrifying than the last. In the end, they learned that the Han family had been destroyed. The hundreds of terrorist leaders who had attacked had suffered heavy casualties. Less than half of them had survived. As for Su Yen and the others, they had already disappeared without a trace. The Han family's ancestral land had also become the most lively place to search for treasures. Some people had dug up deeply hidden treasures, and some people had found some secret inheritance sites of the Han family. However, there was no sign of Su Yen and the others, and in an extremely distant area, a somewhat illusory and terrifying figure emitted an incomparably malevolent and resentful voice. Su Yen, of the Buried Realm clan. The Han family's old ancestor let out a mournful roar. I will make you all die without a burial place. Even if I become a ghost, I won't forgive you all. I will make you all die without a burial place. The Han family's old ancestor was so angry that his entire body trembled. His Yuan spirit body trembled unceasingly, as if it was about to explode. He faced the distance, a vast expanse of dark desert, and fell to his knees, wailing, "Honorable Lord, this lowly one was forced to disturb you. On account of the fact that our Han family's ancestors once served you, please help our Han family. I beg Lord to have mercy, I beg Lord to have mercy." Chapter 1086. This ancient and desolate desert was vast and boundless. There were no signs of life, as if it was a land of death. The light here was dim, and the stifling atmosphere was suffocating. The air was cold, and the desert was like a black land of death. It was filled with fluctuations that would make one panic. But now, the sound of wailing could be heard, and it was extremely horrifying. No one would have thought that the old ancestor of the Han family, a powerful being who had lived in the previous universe era, would be kneeling here and bawling. He would kneel down and cry every few steps, as if he was trying to move the heavens. The Han family was finished. He had heard the news that was spreading like wildfire in the outside world. Even in the Han family's resource lands, the Han family's experts were either dead or injured. There was no hope of reviving the clan, especially now, the Han family's ancestral land. It had been overturned several times by experts from various races. Many people were digging for treasures here, hoping that there would be treasuries left behind. Ever since the Han family's ancestral land collapsed, more than 10 secret treasuries had already been excavated. This led to quite a few bloody battles, making some of the spectators sigh. The former giant clans had now fallen to such a state. Tragic, too tragic. Su Xianren and the others have all left. There's no trace of them. They brought the Han family's boundless resources with them. God knows where they went. It's really heaven-defying. This is the Han family, and they were defeated just like that. I still can't believe it. Only when I see these ruins do I know that the Han family has really been destroyed. It's really a great change. Too many people have died. The Han family has been defeated. Zhu Tian, the northern demon, the heaven-suppressing battle god, and the heaven-sealing 10 heroes. So many young overlords have died just like that. Although it's been half a month, I still can't believe it. It's said that Sun Dome is still alive, but his injuries are severe. He needs a long time to recuperate. Su Xianren, is he going to proclaim himself supreme? Who in the heavenly god realm can fight against him? The entire chaotic ruins were in an uproar. The experts of various races were shocked by Su Yan's strength. Even Zhu Tian had been killed by him. That was an invincible legend of the ancestral hall. In short, Su Xianren's name resounded throughout the chaotic ruins, causing an uproar among the races. The rise of the burial region's race, even the peak races were terrified. Su Yan, if we don't kill him, I can't rest. The ancestral palace's clansmen reverberated with the sounds of slaughter. The entire ancestral land flowed with flames of fury that couldn't be suppressed. The entire clan was in an uproar, and they emitted a murderous aura that stretched for millions of miles. At night, in the depths of the ancestral hall, vast fluctuations were emitted. Rays of blood energy surged out one after another. They were like blood essence fluctuations that had been sealed for a long time. The moment they awakened, they emitted a terrifying pressure from the river of time. The entire ancestral hall was in an uproar. An old ancestor that had been asleep for countless years had been revived. No one knew which era he originated from. This was a group of elders from the ancestral hall working together to awaken an old ancestor from a deep slumber. Their expressions were filled with sorrow. Zhu Tian was dead, and the ancestral hall had to create a new Zhu Tian to continue the glory of the ancestral hall in this universe era. But this matter was of great importance. They had to invite an old ancestor to select a seed sealed for countless years to nurture the new Zhu Tian. What was a seed? Some powerful races would seal a few disciples with astonishing potential. If the ancestral hall's talents withered in a certain era, then the sealed seed would be activated. This was a heaven-defying method that only a few races possessed. It ensured that they produced geniuses every generation. Boom! An old ancestor of the ancestral hall that was sealed in the primal chaos dragon vein had returned from his slumber. When he learned of the major events that had happened in the ancestral hall, he was enraged. "Old ancestor, please calm down." Many elders of the ancestral hall knelt down and kowtowed. They were terrified and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Rising from the ashes. A cold voice exploded, "The end of the 12th era. A complete era's reincarnation cycle is about to end. It's too late to rise now." The elders of the ancestral hall were puzzled. They didn't understand his words. The 12 eras combined into one could be called a complete era. Old ancestor, the ancestral hall's race is showing signs of prosperity. They have a taboo, an absolute powerhouse, and even 2 supreme powerhouses. An elder said with a trembling voice, "If we can't keep them in check and wait for Su Yen and the others to rise, the ancestral hall's race is nothing to worry about. Soon, they won't even be able to protect themselves." The old ancestor that had been revived let out a grand voice, "Our ancestral hall's Zhu Tian is invincible." Old ancestor. Many elders of the ancestral hall were puzzled. Was the old ancestor stupid? The ancestral hall's race was already in such a state. They were nothing to worry about. In fact, Zhu Tian had already fallen. "Zhu Tian isn't dead." The voice came again. It contained a terrifying penetrating force and shocked everyone in the ancestral hall. They couldn't believe it, however. The ancestral hall's old ancestor spoke again. "A great era is coming. All living beings are ant. What geniuses! What overlords! What paragons! They are all unreal shrimps." The old ancestor's voice was filled with excitement as he roared, "The reincarnation cycle is about to end. Our ancestral hall's Zhu Tian is nourishing an invincible Tao fruit in the various eras. Once he is born, he will cast an unparalleled glory." His voice had a terrifying penetrating force that shook the vast ancestral hall and resounded in their ears. The entire ancestral hall was in an uproar. They couldn't calm down. Zhu Tian wasn't dead. He was still alive. Meanwhile, some of the ancestral hall's old antiques pondered. They had once received some secret information. Every generation of Zhu Tian was serving the Zhu Tian imprint. A complete era was about to end, and the invincible Zhu Tian imprint would appear. Looks like the legend is true. Their voices trembled with excitement. Once that day came, all myths and legends would be destroyed. Only the ancestral hall's Zhu Tian could create a supreme legend. After all, the ancestral hall's Zhu Tian was an invincible overlord in the past. Generation after generation, his invincible lineage would completely bloom in this era. It was hard to imagine how glorious and terrifying it would be. Inside the ancestral hall, a storm was brewing. Especially regarding the legends of the calamity, there were more and more. When would it happen? It might be very close or very far. In any case, it would bloom in this era. This era might even have reached its end. It had been half a month since the end of the Han family's calamity. Along the way, Su Yen and the others had been rushing without any rest. Finally, they arrived at their destination. This was a dangerous place where Yuan and the others had experienced life and death. It was also a pinnacle universe secret realm discovered by the old leader of the burial region. They crossed rivers and mountains and passed through the chaotic zone. After traveling for half a month, Su Yen finally saw their destination. In front of them was an endless stretch of blood-colored mountains. One after another, they were filled with the aura of gods and demons. Su Yen stared at these mountains. This should be the ancient God-fiend mountain. After a great battle, it was a land of death left behind. There were many fortunes on these mountains, and Yuan and the others had collected quite a bit. Ever since the old leader took away the broken battle flag, The danger of this land of death had greatly decreased. If it was in the past, they would have been crushed into ashes before they could even get close. Boom! Xiao Ho swung his sleeves and opened up a stretch of mountains and rivers. He used order to create a space, isolating it from the outside world. Let's stay here for a while. It's very chaotic outside now. It's not suitable for us to move around. Xiao Ho entered and said, after this great battle, we've lost all of our enemies. Although we've eliminated the Han family, the primordial spirit of the Han family's ancestor escaped. I'm worried that something might happen. It's just a primordial spirit. Is there a need to be so careful? Yi Lingtian didn't think much of it. Hearing this, Xiao Ho shook his head slightly and said, I don't think so. It's better to be careful. Moreover, we've gained too much from this battle. We need to properly digest what we've gained. Su Yen and the others, your realms in the heavenly god realm aren't high yet. Do your best to raise your realms and prepare for the divine king realm. As long as you can step into the divine king realm, you'll have a chance to stand firm in the immortal graveyard. If we join forces, who would dare to provoke us? Tai Baokai disagreed. Hearing this, Xiao Ho laughed and scolded, Baokai, are you getting conceited? Don't think that you're invincible just because you killed a few people. There are always some young people in this world who have the strongest foundation. Those 9 starry sky treasures. I'll definitely be invincible after I fuse them, Tai Baokai said eagerly. He had been thinking about them all along. Xiao Ho shook his sleeves. One after another, strands of starry sky energy emerged like swimming dragons, filled with the might of the vast Milky Way. 9-fold Milky Way Qi. This treasure isn't simple. If it's refined, it'll definitely be a powerful weapon. Tai Baokai took out the 9 dragons' treasured sword. To Su Yan's surprise, the 9 dragons' treasured sword had been refined even more by Tai Baokai. Now, Tai Baokai was preparing to fuse the 9 starry sky energy into the 9 dragons' treasured sword and forge it into his natal heavenly weapon. Su Yan kicked Baokai. Baokai bared his teeth at Su Yan and took out dozens of void pouches with a pained expression. Su Yan rubbed his nose. So little? Grand Elder, this is the harvest of this trip. I've taken out some treasures that are useful to me. The rest are here. I hope they'll be of help to the tribe. Yuan also handed over more than 20 void pouches. Tai Baotsai's face fell. He was a little embarrassed. He rummaged around and took out more than 20 void pouches to hand over. Xiao Ho did not know whether to laugh or cry. The tribe needs to develop. This batch of resources is very important to the tribe. We went to the Kuan family first, but unfortunately, most of them escaped. Sigh, this traitorous tribe has been defeated. It's a pity that there aren't many resources left. Su Yan was stunned. He did not expect that Xiao Ho and the rest had already defeated the entire Kuan family. News of this had not spread yet. They got off too easy. Yi Lingtian snorted. The killing intent in his body surged. Now that they had the strength, they would definitely find a group of people to settle the score. The Kuan family would naturally be the first to deal with them. Tai Baokai was helpless. He took out more than 20 void pouches to prevent the mighty ones from complaining about the limited resources. Tensor also took out more than 20 void pouches filled to the brim. He grinned and said, I took some too. It's enough for me to cultivate to the divine king realm. I didn't help much this time, but I've already benefited a lot. Su Yan scratched his head and patted Tai Baotsai's big head. How much more was this guy hiding? There really aren't many left. Tai Baotsai's face darkened. He realized that the group was looking at him. He rummaged around and took out one void pouch after another. He took out a total of 19 void pouches. When he realized that Xiao Ho and the rest were still looking at him, Tai Baokai almost cried. He growled, Don't count on me. There really aren't many left. Su Yan looked at Tai Baokai. He wanted to hang it up and give it a good beating. He wanted to see how much it was hiding. There really aren't any left. Tai Baokai made a sound like a pig being slaughtered. He was about to cry. Just like that, the group reluctantly believed him. Chapter 1087. Not bad this time. The Han family's resources are beyond my expectations. Xiahou put away all the void pouches. This batch of resources was very important to the tribe. If he were to estimate, it would be no less than a few million caddies of chaos material. What kind of concept was that? It was enough to make the peak tribes go crazy. Of course, if one were to include treasures like the Kuan-Ping stone, the value would be immeasurable. Especially the golden celestial palace, which contained the inheritance of the Almighty. Its value was unimaginable. Then, Xiahou handed the 9 strands of starry sky power to Tai Baokai. Tai Baokai grinned. I'm also a great contributor. Hee, when the time comes, you'll have to help me refine my natal heavenly weapon. That's right. You're all contributors to the tribe. In the past, we had very little resources for cultivation. We had to fight for them with our lives. Our tribe's juniors are in luck now. Yi Lingtian sighed and patted Tai Baocai's round head. Tribe, Su Yan was stunned. In a flash, they had become the pillars of the tribe. They now had the ability to lead the tribe to glory. He looked back. Earth used to be so small. One Zhu Yan almost ruled the entire Earth and enslaved the entire later progenitor. Back then, they were so weak. They were like natives who didn't know anything at all. Back then, they left their homes in the Dao realm and went on adventures in the universe. Time after time, they experienced life and death situations. They were all still alive, standing at their current cultivation realm. Looking back at the past, they sighed deeply. After several decades of trials and tribulations, they finally became experts. Ancestor, we're all members of the tribe. Our tribe has been through a lot. Now that we have the ability, we should contribute to the tribe. Yuan clenched her fists. Her expression was calm, and her messy hair draped over her shoulders. The current later progenitor was a gathering of experts. There were more than 10 divine king. They could be considered the overlords of the universe. Of course, this was not enough. Their enemies were too strong. Well said. Xiahou laughed and said, let's bring these resources back to the clan. I hope they will be of great help. Oh right, a few years ago, the treasure-gathering merchant alliance sent us a lot of resources, so that the children of our clan have excellent cultivation resources. Su Yan's eyes brightened. He had almost forgotten about the treasure-gathering merchant union. A few years ago, the old Star Lord of Hokuto had risked his life to send a few of his clan's experts into the Milky Way galaxy, bringing back a batch of resources. To the Burial Realm clan, it was like sending charcoal in snowy weather. Su Yan and the others were powerful now, but for a tribe, nurturing new blood was the key to becoming powerful in the future. These resources were very important to the later progenitor, and they amounted to about 50,000 kilograms of primordial chaos materials. After all, to the children who had just stepped into the world of cultivation, these resources were really huge. Now that the Milky Way was trapped, there was no way to communicate with the outside world. If this continued, the younger generation of the Zhongyu clan was destined to have difficulties in cultivation. Although the progenitor's cultivation environment was excellent, it lacked some necessary resources. The old Star Lord and Xuning are very considerate. Su Yan sighed. The old Star Lord had helped Su Yan a lot, again and again. If it weren't for the old Star Lord's help, the treasure-gathering merchant alliance wouldn't have developed so smoothly. Now, it was a very famous merchant alliance in the universe with deep financial resources. At this time, Xiahou took out the Golden Star Tower, looked at it for a while, and said, how should we decide on this? Our clan doesn't have any experts who are good at cultivating the starry sky Dao. Seeing Xiahou looking at him, Xiahou didn't want to waste it. After all, this was related to the inheritance of a supreme almighty. He didn't know how many years it would take to find a suitable candidate. Grandpa Xiahou already has an idea. We will do as you say. Su Yen said in a deep voice. Hokuto can advance and retreat with our clan in the future. With its help, the old Star Lord's path to Almighty will be very close. Yes, I have the same idea. Xiahou nodded. Originally, Su Yen thought of Bamboo Moon, but Bamboo Moon had already embarked on another path. She had received guidance from Big Brother Prehistoric. Bamboo Moon. Su Yan's breathing was a bit heavy. They had obtained a starry sky tree. Su Yan's breathing was heavy. Bamboo Moon's injuries should be cured. This was a starry sky-type divine medicine, which was extremely suitable for her. However, when Su Yen looked at the injured Zhu Yu who was sealed by the heaven-sealing liquid in the spatial treasure, he was shocked. She was wearing a silver dress, floating in the spatial treasure. Her figure was impressive, and her curves were undulating. Her snow-white skin was blooming with vague moonlight. Vaguely, there was a kind of fluctuation of life energy being transmitted from within. Su Yan's expression changed, and he was bewildered. What was going on? Bamboo Moon seemed to be recovering on her own. This made Su Yen feel incredulous. With such serious injuries, if there was no divine medicine, Bamboo Moon would not be able to recover her vitality. But now, Bamboo Moon's vitality had recovered by quite a bit, and her cheeks had also regained some vigor. Su Yen was excited. He carefully sensed and found that within Bamboo Moon's body, there was a kind of energy that gave birth to new life from destruction. Self-recovery, destruction followed by re-establishment? Su Yen was incomparably excited. Bamboo Moon was undergoing self-recovery, which was very important. He speculated that it was Big Brother Prehistoric's method that had helped her come back to life. Su Yen, what are you thinking? Tai Baokai stretched out its head and bared its teeth. Where is the reincarnation fruit? Take it out and let me have a good look. Xiahou and the rest were envious. This was a legendary divine medicine. They had never seen it before and could not wait to see it. Su Yan's expression was solemn. He took out a piece of soil that was filled with reincarnation fluctuations. A huge vine was rooted in the soil. It was as black as ink, and there were 6 fruits growing on it. Boom! Tao sounds filled the air as the 6 fruits glowed, as though they were expounding the profound meaning of the 6 paths of reincarnation. These are the reincarnation fruits. Yi Lingtian's eyes widened as he observed. Tai Baokai stretched out its huge claw to grab one of the fruit. Su Yen raised his hand and lifted Tai Baokai up. He said, 6 fruits. I'm guessing that the reincarnation fruit's value can only be maximized if all 6 fruits are consumed at the same time. In the past, Su Yen had swallowed a strand of origin energy from each of the 6 fruit. Only then did he complete his natural mystique. Su Yen named it reincarnation. I'll take a bite of each and see what it tastes like. Tai Baokai was eager, saliva dripping from its mouth. Su Yan's face darkened as he told them about the prehistoric Big Brother. Yuan was moved. It's him. Yuan had gained a lot on Mount Barbaric, and could not forget about the prehistoric Big Brother. However, they did not expect that the taboo behind Su Yen was him. Tai Baokai was dumbfounded. It knew the importance of the taboo. Since this thing was useful to the prehistoric Big Brother, it knew its importance. Su Yen could not bear to eat a single reincarnation fruit. He kept all of them for his big brother. Taboo. Xiahou and the rest were shocked. Could this taboo really be related to the burial realm? Could it be a patriarch who had lived for a long time? However, they really did not know that the clan had a living taboo patriarch. Su Yen also asked how terrifying the taboo was. Xiahou and the rest did not understand, but Yi Lingtian said, the old leader is about to break through to the taboo level. What? Su Yen was shocked. The old leader was about to break through to the taboo level? Don't be happy yet. Yi Lingtian smiled bitterly. The old leader said that the universe has changed. The taboo will not be born because the universe is affecting the world. The universe can't give birth to the taboo. Could it be that the taboo of the sealing heaven territory originated from an extremely ancient time? Su Yan's expression changed. It should be. Xiaoho's tone was solemn as he said, although the taboo cannot be revealed now, the old leader said that the universe is about to undergo a huge change. The environment will change as well. The taboo might be revealed in the future. Yuan and the rest's hearts raced. This was too scary. Once this day came, the universe would be in chaos and the structure would be completely changed. After all, the taboo had not been born for a long time. The old leader said that the universe could not give birth to a taboo life form. However, the taboo that had been dormant for a long time would rise again. Once this news was leaked, it would cause terrible chaos. This is the change in the future that Bamboo Moon said. Su Yan's face was pale. How many old monsters were dormant in the world? Once they awakened, what would the universe be like? So you must remember to cultivate quickly, Xiaoho said in a low voice. The immortal graveyard is especially important. The old leader said that if there is still hope for a breakthrough, it should be the immortal graveyard. That is a prehistoric environment that has existed for a long time. Maybe we can find a way. The immortal planet. Su Yan immediately thought of this. This meant that the immortal graveyard was too important. He had to make a trip there. If we can rule the entire immortal graveyard. Baotsai's eyes were red. He would definitely become the richest man. Can you stop dreaming? Xiaoho laughed. Once that day comes, I'm afraid that some of the taboo's descendants will be born. They are the most terrifying. Remember, the universe's environment has changed, but there are some creatures that originated from prehistoric times who have mastered unparalleled secret technique. Once they enter the immortal graveyard, they will be especially terrifying. Yi Lingtian's face was solemn. Su Yan and the others' realm was not high enough. Once they encountered them, they would be in great danger. Yuan's heart was heavy. The threat from the future, the taboo's descendants, just how strong were they? After all, they possessed prehistoric knowledge that the current universe's environment could not compare to. In other words, the geniuses born in this era and the taboo's descendants were difficult to measure. This made Yi Lingtian and the others restless. They were worried for their tribe. Even someone as strong as the old leader could sense the danger. This is relatively cruel for you. Children, work hard to cultivate. Although you are strong enough now, your cultivation time is too short. During this time, I will stay here to guide you in your cultivation. Xiaoho sighed. It was an extremely unfair competition, but he could only bite the bullet and charge forward. Su Yan wanted to tell them about the blood-colored creature, but he stopped. What could he do even if he told them? It would only cause them trouble. Taboo, how many are there in this world? Su Yan raised his head to look at the sky. However, what they did not know was, in a certain large desert with an oppressive atmosphere. The sound of crying was endless. It was hard for people to imagine that the primordial spirit of a mighty being who had lived for an entire era of the universe was crying incessantly. He kowtowed with every step he took, kowtowing towards the depths of the desert. His attitude was extremely sincere and moved the heavens. In the end, he knelt at the end of the desert. Vaguely, there was a space-time rift that was shrouded in primal chaos. The Han clan ancestors' cries grew louder as he sobbed, "Lord, please take pity on my clan and seek justice for my clan." His head knocked on the ground so hard that it shook in the end. It was as if he had moved the heavens. As if the sea of stars had collapsed, the entire desert shook. Countless grains of sand were swept up like billions of stars, rumbling and shaking the heavens and the earth. Wisps of ancient aura were awakened from their slumber. During the process, it was extremely terrifying. The Han family's ancestor was about to collapse. The Han family's ancestor crawled and trembled as he knelt before the Chaos Rift. He took out a token, causing the Chaos Rift to instantly emit divine light. It was as if 3,000 universes had opened, revealing the light of 3,000 gods and demons.